Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays and our second ever commentary track. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, at the time this is dropping, is coming out a week from this weekend. So we decided, or it's actually coming out later this week because it's dropping on a Monday. So we decided let's do a commentary track for the original Black Panther because it's a movie I've seen a bunch of times. Kelsey's definitely seen a bunch of times because she's always studying for trivia. Kelsey, you won't have to give your thoughts on Black Panther because we're going to have 2.5 hours to talk about it. But are you
Yeah,
excited to get this commentary track underway?
I am Dill. As you said, I've started my studying journey, preparing for that big title match at the end of this year. And so what my method is, not to give my secrets away, but I start from the newest stuff that's been released because that's the stuff that I've seen released, and I make my way backwards through the MCU. So it's fun to jump right in the middle of the MCU right away
That's
for
right.
this commentary track.
So we're going to begin it at about 2 minutes into this video. So you guys have about 45 seconds left if you want to get the Disney Plus up or your Blu-ray or whatever. Assuming you've already gotten that ready because it is a commentary track. So you're not going to click on it and just listen to us talk without having the movie playing. Or you're going to listen to us talk without the movie playing. That's fine too. But we will start it. I will count down from 5. And then after 1, when we hit 0, that's when Kelsey and I are going to hit play. So it's going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Play will be 0, and we will press play, and we will take it from there and just talk about this movie. I have a bunch of trivia and fun facts in terms of like the making of and stuff like that. And Kelsey just has a lot of fun insight as well as a trivia nerd. So, Kelsey, are you ready?
I'm ready with my hard
All right.
cider.
Yes, we'll crack the drinks open once we hit play. Or actually,
Mm.
Kelsey's already cracked the drink open, I guess. So
Sorry, I've already started.
we're a little bit beyond 2 minutes of this video. So let's get into this commentary track. So pull up your Disney Pluses, everyone, because we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And here we go. Baba. If your first word was Baba, you're on the right track. We are here. You're doing the commentary track. If you can't see anything, that's also okay because it's still a little dim. Um, Different, Kelsey. We're not getting our Marvel intro right away. How do you feel about that?
No. No, I love it when we don't get the Marvel intro right away. It's that's when you I feel like you know a good movie's about to start.
Because it has to build to like
Maybe
the boom Marvel drop.
yeah.
You
And we get a lot of key information here during this little intro, you know?
know?
We're getting the history of Wakanda.
Yeah.
And I
If you've
love how
never,
they did this animation with
I
the
was gonna say, yeah,
sand. You know what I
the
mean?
sand animation's cool, sandimation, if you will. Um, the one thing,
Sandimation. I
the one
love
thing I'll
it.
tell you, people listening, if you've never seen Black Panther, this is not the time to play us because we want you guys to enjoy it. We're assuming if you're listening to this that you've seen Black Panther. If you're a Marvel fan, you've probably seen Black Panther. If you're a person, you've probably seen Black Panther. So um,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking over a lot of the dialogue, but that's because we've seen this movie a bunch of times. We're not doing this to like actually watch the movie. We're doing this to kind of provide our commentary, our insight as you watch the movie and as we watch it with you. So think of this more as like a watch along with your two annoying friends that won't shut up during the movie. That's us right now.
You know, Jill, I was just thinking about this today. If anyone was like, what movie would you recommend to someone who's never seen an MCU project ever?
hmm
I think I would tell them Black Panther. I think that's like the one that
hmm
you like have to see, just as like a good movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even
Oh, and here we go.
even if you don't want to
1992,
watch,
moving to
yes,
Oakland. Yeah. No, I'm
Oakland,
just keeping track,
California,
making sure people are with us. Um,
for sure.
And I love this too. Still no Marvel intro, so we're still kind of just setting up the atmosphere, the vibe, what Ryan Coogler's going for, or Zach from trivia would say Ryan Cooler.
All
Cost
right.
him the perfect round.
Zach's gonna hate that you just brought that up again.
So yeah, we got this great opening here in Oakland. You know, kind of merging the real life with the mystical, with the magical, with the Marvelness of it.
Yeah. Jill,
Freaking love Sterling K. Brown. Oh yeah, let's crack open
when
some
are we
drinks.
drinking these drinks?
Yeah. So I got my nice little Coors Light. We respond. We what do we call it? Recommend safe drinking here, safe consumption here.
Responsible,
Hold
drink
on, I'm gonna do something
responsibly or
disgusting.
whatever.
I don't have long enough fingernails to do this, so I'm just gonna use my teeth to pop open the beer.
Oh, wow. Using the teeth.
There we go.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Did you
Dill's
hear
a
the
professional.
crisp crack there? It's funny because
Is that
as I
something
opened the
you
beer,
do a
Sterling K.
lot?
Brown just goes like it was almost like he was reacting to me.
Do you open beer with your teeth often?
Well, usually I can get the cap, but sometimes if it's like really well
Mm,
packed in the box, sometimes the cap is so hard to like get open.
sure.
Never a bottle with the cap. This is fully a can. Um, but cheers,
Jill,
Kels. Cheers.
cheers. I got an easy one for us. Why don't we just drink every time someone says the word Wakanda?
Okay, we could try that. So yeah, we just created our little drinking game. So if you guys want to create your own little drinking game, um, there we go. So I love this
Prince
because
Njobu.
we're kind of getting these characters. When you first see this, you're not sure if these are the main characters, if these are supporting characters, because these characters aren't in the whole movie. Like these are not your main
Hmm.
players, but it definitely sets up kind of the whole conflict of the Earth versus Wakanda thing, and the fact that we're not just being thrust right into Wakanda, we're getting some of the family dynamics.
Yeah,
I have some
this
fun
is like
facts about
really.
Wakanda, but we'll get there when we get to
Oh,
Wakanda.
I can't wait. This is like the whole, like almost inciting incident of this whole movie that we're getting
Mhm.
right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right, Dale. Sterling K. Brown really, really rocks.
So what's really interesting also is T'Chaka, the actor playing T'Chaka, Atandu
Mm.
Akani, his dad plays the older version of T'Chaka. So it is the same bloodline, I guess, of
In
actors.
Civil War
Yeah, and in the dream sequence that we'll see
and
later
in
here.
this
Yeah.
movie as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. John Candy is a much more popular actor. That's his dad. He's the voice of Rafiki in the live action Lion King. He's done a bunch of stuff, but this is his
Wow,
son playing the younger version of him, which is pretty cool.
that is really cool.
Vibranium. Wow. So there's my first fun fact. Great. We got one of them out of the way. I'm just trying to pepper in these fun facts as best we can. Um,
Sure, is that your fun fact? They have vibranium in Wakanda.
no, the fun fact is that they're the same blood. It's
Oh,
father son.
well, you just went vibranium. There's my first fun fact. So I was like,
Oh, no, I was just
what
like,
does
oh, there's the first
vibranium have to do? Okay, I love that fun fact, Dill.
one.
The
Thank you.
more you know. See, I'm taking in all this trivia.
Well,
I'm cheating right now.
and the trivia I'm going to be saying is not stuff you're going to have to study for. It's
No,
like
I
behind the
know, I
scenes shit.
know.
So, um, Sterling K. Brown, though, fantastic actor. Like literally one of the most expressive people working. Have you seen This Is
Mhm.
Us?
No, it's. I've heard it's really sad.
It is, but as an
And
actor,
and
it's
there's
it's a
a devastating
masterclass.
episode with a crock pot in it, and I have no idea what happens, but I've just heard about this infamous crock pot,
Mm.
and that's all I really know about the show.
Let's say Sterling K. Brown has some scenes in that show that are just devastating. I mean, like in this little short scene, he's already conveying so much. Like you could see all the emotion just in that little scene. Oh, there we go. There's basketball looking in the sky. So this is a young Killmonger. We're led to believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a young
Eric Stevens.
Eric Stevens.
Wow.
Eric
And
Killmonger
now we get
Stevens.
our intro. So look at that. How many
Ba,
minutes?
ba,
We're
ba, ba.
almost 6 minutes in, and now we're finally getting our intro, which is kind of wild.
Oh, see, they changed it on Disney Plus. It's all dedicated to Chadwick now. If you watch Black Panther on Disney Plus, the whole Marvel intro is dedicated to Chadwick, and it tugs at my heartstrings every time. I don't
Wait,
think I'm gonna
this
be able to handle this movie, Dill.
I don't think I'm on the same version as you because I'm not. I don't have a Chadwick intro.
Wait, are you watching on Disney Plus?
I am. I didn't get a Chadwick intro, so it must be.
No, my whole intro is Chadwick. I
I
wonder
don't know.
why that is. I wonder how that could be.
I don't know.
This isn't even the first time I've watched Black Panther since his passing. I'm an emotional little bitch, so I'm not gonna be able
Hmm.
to handle this.
I know it is sad, but at the same time, I think I think I've seen
Oh,
it enough times after.
the announcer said
Oh,
Wakanda.
I said Wakanda. There we go.
I think we forgot to listen to it. We probably missed a bunch of Wakandas, but I'm gonna
That's
listen
fine.
for it now.
Oh, Okoye, great character, amazing
Iconic
character.
queen, queen.
It's funny. All the
This
Dora
guy,
Milaje actresses had to cut their hair, had to shave their heads for real. Like, I mean, there's no way you can really fake that. So that's a big acting commitment. Would you shave your head for a
mm,
role? Would you do it?
Jill. This question has been posed to me very recently. I think it would have to depend on the scale of the role.
Mhm.
and like what
The pay.
project it was for.
Mhm.
But for the right role, I think I'd commit. What I probably wouldn't ever be able to do is shave my eyebrows. I
Mm.
I want to keep those. I don't think those grow back if
Do
you
they
shave
not?
them. I'm not sure.
Say we are priding ourselves on our eyebrows here on Marvelous Movie Mondays. I'm very proud of mine as well. Mine are very expressive.
I've worked really hard to get my eyebrows, and they're not even that great, but
Mm.
I I take good care of them.
So what I love about this sequence, I love how they kind of, and they don't do this much in the rest of the film. They kind of play into the whole like fear idea of Black Panther because he's obviously a symbol of hope, symbol of optimism. You know, a great leader, but at the same time, like
Mhm.
the actual idea of this Black Panther in the night. I mean, wild cats are scary. You know, like lions, tigers,
Yeah.
panthers. So the fact that they're in this dark jungle and the panther's lurking, and I love the shot that's about to happen where it's him up in the tree. Like I wish there was a little more of that just in the movie and all the other movies. And sadly, because he's passed, we won't get any
Mhm.
more of Chadwick. But you know, I hope whoever, assuming I know who by the trailers who the new Black Panther will be, I hope they use them
Mm.
and do a little bit more of this kind of stuff, like the whole lurking in the shadows, kind of
Sure.
stealthy Black Panther.
Make the Black Panther a little more animalistic.
Hmm. Yeah,
Sure.
and that's also a tough line, also because you don't want to make it too animalistic to the point where it's like almost like like a racist caricature. You want to be still respectful without
Ooh,
Ooh, see, there you go.
no, yeah, 100%.
There's a scary shot.
Cat-like,
Hmm.
feline-like, not,
Yeah.
nothing offensive.
Oh, Lupita Nyong'o, another great one.
This is a stacked cast.
It really is. Um, See, Lupita Nyong'o has already had her Oscar by now when she got this role, but Chadwick was still relatively unknown, except for obviously he was in Civil War, but even then he was an unknown. He really became a big star from this movie. He was Jackie
Mhm,
Robinson in 42. We actually did a whole movie club with
mhm.
42, with 21 Bridges or whatever it is, 28 Bridges.
Yes, 21
And then
Bridges,
Ma Rainey's
42.
Black Bottom, which he was nominated for posthumously after his death and after this film. But
Yeah.
I'd say of all the stars, like Lupita Nyong'o was the only one who was really, aside from like the older people like Forrest Whitaker, Sterling K. Brown, Angela Bassett, like she was the only like younger person who was really established at this point. And kind of Daniel Kaluuya too, but he was only a year removed from Get Out, so it's like this is still a fresh
Mm,
cast. Denai Guerrero, who played Okoye, she's coming off of The Walking Dead, but even then, that's a very specific audience. Like I feel like mainstream audiences that don't watch that show or aren't like TV people, just movie people, didn't know who she was either. So it's really cool to just see these actors really become famous and blow up because of this project, because it is such an influential piece of, like you said, just cinema for movie fans, not just MCU.
mhm.
Do you like this relationship here? Do you buy them?
Yeah.
You do.
Well, I mean, they're
I did.
both incredible, so I already,
Hmm.
I get the chemistry. It's a shame that we're not gonna get too much more backstory into this specific relationship, because I would love to know, why they didn't work out before, like, what their relationship looked like before this moment, because when we meet them, they're broken up. You know what I mean,
Hmm.
Dill?
Yeah.
But we're not gonna get any more.
Sadly. Yeah, we're gonna just get the sad stuff out of the way. Obviously, if you're watching this, you probably know by now Boseman has passed away, and he was actually 2 years into his 4-year battle of cancer when he was filming this. So he passed away in 2020. Started his cancer battle shortly after Civil War was released. So yeah, he's two
Mm,
years into fighting this disease. So it's pretty amazing. And this beautiful score right here with the light coming up on the two of them and just stunning
mhm,
music. Ludwig Göransson
mhm.
did the score for it. It's the only MCU score to win Best Score at the Oscars. I believe it's one of the only ones to even be nominated at the Oscars because the scores themselves, none of them are as iconic as this. I mean, the Avengers has that theme, but the Avengers, it's just that theme. Whereas here, it's like the
Yeah,
whole music. It just feels so rich culturally, and
yeah.
obviously here's Wakanda. It's beautiful. I said Wakanda, so I drank. But
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
um,
Dill, it's just one of those things where, the score itself adds so much more to the movie that if it were
mhm,
different, or if it was just completely taken away, the movie just wouldn't feel as whole.
Yeah,
You know
because
what
you
I
really
mean?
want
The
to
score
settle into
itself
the
is a character.
ambiance. Yeah, exactly. That's good. And even this stuff, like the trumpets, like kind of the royal theme right there. I love that.
These like drums, like these bongos in the background, whatever this, like like that immediately you know Wakanda. It's Wakanda.
Mhm,
Any music that can like trigger you, like take you somewhere, like that's a good score.
mhm. Well, something interesting about Wakanda, the production designer, we also got to talk about the production design. A lot of this is
Of course.
CGI, but a lot of the in building sets, like everything in the throne rooms and just a lot of the mountains and just the tribal stuff in general, the set dressing, that is all practical, and that is um, production designer Hannah Beechler is in charge of that, and she did a great job with it. She actually wrote a 515 page, she calls it a Bible, about Wakanda, just the history of the culture and just the different designs and the structures, the architecture,
Wow.
all that, just about the production design. Because production design isn't just buildings, but it's props, it's not costumes, but costumes can be included in that design. So like, it's the
Mhm.
spears they carry. That's all part of the production design too. So like, really cool that there's like a whole magnum opus, 515 page thing about Wakanda.
That that's some good dramaturgy
Thank you. Well, yes, it's
on
yes,
on
good
both ends
dramaturgy on her,
for
but good.
you and for
Thank you
her.
for acknowledging. I thought you were talking about my researching and finding out that information, but I now realize you were talking about.
I'll give you both credit.
Thank you. Love this relationship too. I mean, that's the thing this movie does so well is right away establishing who these characters are in relation to one another, not just separately.
Yeah.
Because I feel like T'Challa is kind of more of like the not one note, but obviously like the more like just kind of composed, cool, like leading man. I feel like he's got a lot of the colorful personalities around him, but he's a good balance of those bigger personalities, which is always something I liked. She's great too.
Mhm.
The great Angela Bassett.
I mostly know Angela Bassett from American Horror Story.
Ah,
I had
never
a
seen that.
I had a phase during the pandemic deal. I was like, I've heard a lot about this show. Let me just dive right in. And
And now for the greatest
it's
performance
crazy.
in the MCU thus far, Mr. Michael B. Jordan. I will not take any counter arguments. I'm kidding.
Really? He has the greatest performance for you?
I think so. It's my favorite performance because it's so layered. It's not just the one note villain. Even here, it's like you're like, ooh, who's this character? I'm interested. I'm
Yeah.
not getting the villain vibe right away, even though the marketing made it seem like he is the villain, and he is. Um, he's the antagonist, if you will, but I don't even think he's a villain. I think he's got very sound reasonings for what he's doing, which is why it's like
Sure.
such a compelling character. And I think he brings a lot to that.
I would say maybe not for this movie specifically, but just like more of the villain character in this movie is Andy Serkis's character,
Right. He's more
whose
like the
name has slipped
stereotypical
me at this moment right
Ulysses
now.
Claw. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dill. Oh my God, can't make a slip up like that at trivia.
No,
No one's
you're not
gonna
in
eat
trivia
me
mode right now.
alive.
This is purely enjoyment. I mean, what would you do if
Ulysses
you were in a
Claw.
museum and someone asked if they could buy something or take something? Like, I mean, how do you respond to that?
That's above my pay grade. I'd have to get my manager.
Right.
I'd be like,
I love how he almost has like a flirtatious nature to him too.
yeah, yeah.
Like the way he just kind of talked to her, like it's almost kind of smooth.
Yeah, he's a really attractive guy. I'll
I
say it.
also love this. I love seeing Andy Serkis running in because immediately those who really know Age of Ultron well are like, "Oh, that's Claw."
I think at some point,
And I love this how the camera kind of has it blurred out and then focuses on him. Comes into frame.
Killmonger said it actually comes from Wakanda, so I took a drink.
Gotcha. I love this. This is what makes him, like you said, like
Like
more
he's
the.
a villain. He's a
Mhm.
villain. Like that's villainous shit.
I love the way he talks too. It's because it's not funny, but
Yeah,
it's
this is
it's engaging. It's got an
yeah.
energy to it. You got to leave the crime scene more. I just love it.
What accent is that? Where's Andy Serkis from?
Well, Andy Serkis, I think, is either Australian or British. This is not his actual accent. I think his actual accent is 13 going on 30 accent. This is somewhere in the middle of something
He
else.
is an English actor.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. This is actually one of his only like fully non CGI
Mocap.
performances. And even then, his arm's CGI. So
He has a type. Good for him.
he knows his type. And I like this, having the two of them together, because it's like he's much more extroverted, and Killmonger, at least right now, is so cool, calm, and collected. Now they're doing the Hannibal Lecter thing of pulling him out with the stretcher. Yeah, this is such a great ragtag team. The only complaint I have is that we don't get a lot with his girlfriend character. Like, I feel like she's very underdeveloped.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
All right, so we're about to see all the tribes, and actually, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask if you can name all 6 of the tribes.
There's the mining tribe. I know that. The river tribe.
Yeah.
The border tribe. There's 6. They're
Yep.
gonna say them at one point. I want to make sure that I can get it. Oh, I said mining, river, border. Oh, just M'Baku's tribe. Does that count?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the name of them?
Oh God.
This isn't a trivia question. This is
the
just
Jabari.
me. Like, yep, Jabari, and then you got
the
2
Jabari
more.
tribe.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you hints.
Okay.
One of them is another name for the royal family. It's like that tribe, and the other one is they wear purple.
Is one of them the merchant tribe?
Yep, that's the purple one. So now you got only one left,
okay.
And that's the one that T'Challa's family is.
Oh God. I don't know if I know the name of his tribe, but it's another name for the royal family.
Yeah, I mean it's the tribe that the royal family is. So it's also a color. It's kind of a color, kind of an element.
A color, kind of an element.
So like silver, but not silver.
The aluminum tribe.
No.
The gold tribe.
The golden tribe, yep.
Oh,
So
the
golden tribe, border tribe, river tribe, mining tribe, merchant tribe, and the Jabari. So the golden tribe, yeah, it's the royal family. They use the black motif with continental symbol for the sun, and they have the panther theme designs. That's how you can tell them apart. The border tribe was inspired by Lesotho architecture and language, which is an African country. Tribe symbol is the Lesotho word for horseman. Their motif is blue, so they're the blue tribe. And they use the rhinoceros, so that's the one that Daniel Kaluuya, that's them right there. Daniel Kaluuya's tribe is the border tribe. The river tribe, inspired by the Surma and Mercy of Ethiopia, the people who hail from the Nile, the Nile River, obviously hence the name. And their motif is the green and shells type, so that's those people, the ones with the green and the shells.
Nakia's tribe.
That would be Nakia's, yep. They wear crocodile skins and leather, so they're kind of the ones who are also very like of nature, because they're the river tribe. The mining tribe is inspired by the Himba and Maasai of southern Africa. They have the red and orange color scheme, and they wear like lion themed design. So they're a little bit more hard edge, I guess you could say. Merchant tribe is the purple ones. They're inspired by the Tuareg of the Sahara. And then the Jabari, as you know, is M'Baku's. They're the fur and wood to honor the gorilla. The Gorilla City, actually, which we'll get to later, was originally supposed to be a rainforest. Like, that's what the comic book accuracy is. But Ryan Coogler that's too easy, like the rainforest, the gorilla. So he set it on that frosty mountain, the snow-covered mountain, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
So that was a Ryan Coogler choice, but we'll get there. She's so funny.
Yeah.
This isn't as much a breakout for her than it is for like the other characters, you know, like because this is
Letitia
the first time
Wright.
we see her. Yeah, because like we've already seen Chadwick in Civil War, and
I just love how they have such a brother-sister dynamic. It's like
mhm.
he's undergoing the most important day of his life, and she's just like, "I don't care. Like, I would like to leave."
Mhm. He's great too. This is also his first big role, Winston Duke.
Winston Duke.
And obviously the great Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, he has a great layered character, Winston Duke.
Mm-hmm.
From challenging him during this fight to
Mm.
saving him at the end. Spoiler
Because yeah,
alert.
we just met the villains, but at the same time, it's like we know just based on this scene that he's also kind of an antagonist. So it's cool to see like because when I was watching this movie, I was like, wait, is this like the real villain, or is this kind of just like a one-off villain that he's gonna kill to get to the next step? But then he ends up being so much
Mhm.
more. He's the person that he conquers, but then eventually ends up being a great piece of value to this group and these characters. Hmm. I think this scene may be my favorite of Chadwick's acting in the whole movie
Mm.
because this is the most like I don't know composed, I guess, but also like he's got this killer instinct in his eyes.
There's just something so stoic about him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
is a king. Like he just embodies kingliness.
Exactly, and honestly, so does Winston Duke. I think,
Hmm.
which is crazy to see when you watch like Us. Have you ever seen Us, the Jordan Peele movie?
Yes,
Because
yes.
Winston Duke is the
Him
total
and
opposite. He's full on dad mode.
Lupita.
I hate the guy at the lip.
The guy with the lip. Oh, his like big lip piercing. It's like the
Mhm.
size of a dinner plate.
Like I get it, but I'm also like that. Wouldn't that hurt?
Yeah, I guess it's like the same concept as gauges. You ever see ear gauges?
Yeah, and I don't like those either.
I don't like those either, Bill.
It's not like I don't like looking at them. Like it's cool, but I just can't envision myself doing it because it makes me think that
Oh,
it just imagines. I imagine someone like just tugging at my ear 24/7.
yeah.
But if you ever have gauges, if you guys like have the tongue stuff like or the lip stuff, like let us know in the comments if it's comfortable or not because I'd love to if it's comfortable. Hey, I'd love to dabble.
Yeah, you get an ear gauge still? What if you had to get an ear gauge for a role? You take that
I'd do
role?
it. A roll's a
I don't
roll,
think you're
Kels.
I don't
Anything
think
so I don't
you
have to be hosting at a restaurant.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
I love how the dorm allows you to just like get closer and closer.
Yeah, because I think that's also part of it. It's also part of the challenge. Winston Duke is so much bigger than Chadwick. Ooh, hitting him with his mask on, with those teeth.
Yeah, Angela Bassett. The sound design is great in this too. Just like all the punches and I think we sometimes underrate sound design.
Oof,
Ah,
shoulder stab. Hmm.
and there's that score kicking in again. I wish I could read more about like the actual wrestling move that he's doing there because that's sweet.
Yeah, that's a good move. I'm gonna keep that in mind if I ever find myself in a pickle.
And a dill pickle. That could be the
A
name of the
Dill
move.
Pickle
The
Movie
dill
Network.
pickle. Mm. Amazing. Yeah, she's so cool, Okoye. I love the subtleness
Yeah,
of just all the little smiles and smirks she gives because she's a funny character. She's probably the funniest one in this movie, except for
yeah.
maybe Andy Serkis.
My favorite Okoye line is in Infinity War, and it's when Wanda first comes down on the battlefield, and she just goes, "And why has she been up there all this time?" Like, what has she been doing up there?
Actually funny,
That's what.
the Dora Milaje themselves, I guess I'll talk about them now, translates to the adored ones. That's their translation in Wakandan. A group of
Aw,
female soldiers protect Wakanda. Um, Dora Milaje was made up of a cast of actresses, but also stunt women and Broadway dancers. So they wanted each, like Dora Milaje, to have their own specific skills. So they had the ones that were obviously more actresses, kind of the leads of them, but the ones supporting Dora Milaje, we have a lot of Broadway dancers and stunt people because they really wanted that
wow,
sense of fighting style to be real authentic and to really be able to have
nice.
malleability.
Chadwick said Wakanda forever, so take a drink, Jill.
Oh, I've been drinking.
I've
That's
been
funny.
drinking. I've
The
been
cast
drinking.
the casting process to find the Dora Milaje was so extensive they called it Finding Dora.
The
Oh,
ancestral plane.
I gotta say, there's a lot of CGI I don't like in this movie, but the CGI I do like is this stuff. The kind of the veins with the purple
Mm,
underneath. I like that a
mm-hmm.
lot. It's a cool effect. Mm.
Aw, aw.
It gets you in the heart.
This whole movie, I'm just
Hmm. I just
tears
love
will
how
be shed.
Yeah, I just love how like it just has its own sense of culture, and even though it's a made up culture, like it's a made up place, Wakanda, but it feels so lived in, so well realized
But as you've
because it
been
does
saying,
have
Jill, this whole time,
parallels.
it's all inspired by real
Hmm.
cultures
Right.
in Africa,
Hmm.
with all the
And it feels
tribes and
respectful to
all
those
the
cultures too.
designs. Yeah.
So here's your if you haven't seen a Marvel movie, here's what you missed. Here's what you missed on
Here's what you
Glee.
missed on Glee.
Oh boy, Glee, never ending. Even now, they're still making documentary series about Glee. I think one's
They're
happening
making
now.
that podcast.
That's
The,
what it
the
is. Yeah.
the guy who played Artie and the girl who played
Tina.
Tina. I'm like, her real name's Jenna. What was her
Jenna
character's name?
Ushwitz, yep, went to Marymount, like alma mater.
Oh, hell yeah.
Graduated with one of my
Notable
professors.
alumni.
Hmm. See, these Panthers, I don't think the CGI is that great, but it doesn't matter because it's just such a beautiful scene. Like the little issues and problems with this movie, I think that's the thing is the problems don't take away from everything else. Where some movies, it's like the movie's not as good, so the problems stick out more. A lot of the Phase 4 stuff we've been seeing,
Hmm.
but here it's just gorgeous. So yeah, there's John Canny, as we mentioned earlier, father of the guy who played young T'Chaka.
Yes.
This is very Lion King.
Yeah.
Speaking of, got Mufasa right here.
This is so heartwarming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just touched.
This is probably my favorite musical bit. Just the costumes here too. I mean, the costumes are so good everywhere else.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess it's a good time to talk about the character of Black Panther and where he came from. Considering we're here at the ancestral plane, Black Panther was first created in July 1966, which is actually 2 months before the founding of the Black Panther Party. So Black Panther, the superhero, existed before the actual Black Panther Party did.
What year
Um,
did you say, Dill?
1966, July of
Wow.
1966. It's been a character
Wow.
that's been around for a while. People started mistakenly assuming that the name was referring to the party. It's kind of one of
Mm.
those reverse psychology of this came first, but this was more popular. So everyone thought this was because of the Black Panther Party. So a lot of people started renaming it to the Black Leopard. That was kind of the periodic name shift for a while in the comics, but then the readers nor the creators liked that title, so they changed it back. Um,
Mm. Yeah, I like
yeah,
Black Panther better.
I like Black Panther better than Black Leopard. Black Leopard just doesn't
That
flow off
just
the tongue.
that makes me think of like Death Leopard.
Mm-hmm.
Or Def, not Death. Def
Def
Leppard,
Leppard.
the band.
Yeah. So Jonathan Mayberry, who was one of the comic book writers on Black Panther, first actually learned about apartheid as a young teen because of Black Panther's involvement in Fantastic Four, because Black Panther was first introduced in a Fantastic Four comic. Fun fact.
Mm.
But Mayberry learned about apartheid, which is like African politics and all that stuff. It's too much to go into right now,
Mm.
but learned about that through that, and that actually encouraged him to, kind of cut off his father, who was actually a member of the KKK in Philadelphia. So he was the son of a KKK member, saw Black Panther in the Fantastic Four comic, and
Oh
basically just kind
my
of changed his
God.
outlook on life, cut him off, and then offered him the job of writing this comic. They didn't know that at the time, but Mayberry says that Black Panther is like the most positive influence on his life because of that. So like it kind of
Is
shaped
this
him into being a better
Mayberry
person.
guy you're talking about? He's a white guy?
I'd assume so, considering his dad was a KKK member. Yeah,
Yeah, that probably tracks.
but
I
I will
just
look.
I'm just curious. This is a great little jumper Lupita's got on. Look at this
Yeah, the
green
costumes are
jumper
so good,
she's wearing.
and I like how they don't really make the tribes thing too much in your face, but you can still get a distinct characteristic about each person just based on the colors they're wearing, because they kind of relate to the tribes once you know that kind of
Yeah.
breakdown of all this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish we
So
just got a
far
little
we've
bit more of the two of them.
so far oh, they're so sweet.
What were you gonna say? So far, what?
I was just gonna say, so far we've only seen her in green, which tracks because she is a part of the River Tribe.
I don't think there's a picture of him, but I believe.
Wakabi.
What is his name? I always forget.
Wakabi?
Wakabi.
Yeah, that's what I just read.
Yeah, I have subtitles on too because I'm just like, I want to hear you more than I want to hear the movie, because
Yeah.
if they're both at the same volume, it becomes tough.
Yeah.
That's why you got to see a movie a certain amount of times before you can actually commentate on it. Because if you're going like first watch commentary, that can get messy. Yeah, no,
All my commentary would be, what did he just say? What's going on?
he's very
Wait, who's
white.
that?
Jonathan Mayberry. Jonathan Mayberry is
Okay.
very white.
Well,
So
he
yeah,
was
good for
able
him for
to
having a turnaround.
expand his mind and
Yeah.
open up his perspective a little bit in the year 1966.
And he did.
Crazy.
He read this
Crazy.
comic and it did that for him, and then he became a writer for the comics, for these comics.
That's the power of literature, people.
Which nowadays we probably want black creators to tell these black stories, but at the
Yeah,
time,
100%.
like the fact that it was someone who was so influenced by it, I think is good, as opposed to like an actual person who was not with the times or had a negative outlook on black people in general. Like that would have been even worse, I think. But
I love the South Korea scenes.
South Korea?
Yeah, when they go to South Korea in
Oh,
the
yeah,
casino.
I thought you were talking about this scene. I was like, this isn't South Korea.
No. This is very much not South Korea. But
Mm,
that's where they're going next, and I really love the whole sequence.
mm. Daniel Kaluuya, another great one. He had a breakout the year before with Get Out, so he was well established. He was an Academy Award nominated, but I don't know if he got cast in this before Get Out came out, so he might not have been like intended to be a huge selling point, but it just helped that he was.
Sure.
And it's sad he couldn't join on for the sequel just because of scheduling conflicts.
He's not going to be in Wakanda Forever?
No.
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
It's funny because people listening after the fact will be like, yeah, he wasn't in it. What are you talking about? But yeah, we haven't seen Wakanda Forever yet, people. We're not cool critics like everyone else who got to see it early. So we're going fully blind. Yeah, Angela Bassett will be back. She gives that great line in the trailer. We have Nakia and Shuri, obviously. I don't know about Killmonger. The thing is, Michael B. Jordan has been in every single Ryan Coogler movie. He was in Fruitvale Station. He was in Creed. He was Creed in Creed. And he was Killmonger here. So, this is Ryan Coogler's fourth feature film. We'll see if he finds a way to get Killmonger in there. I don't know where he would use him. I guess maybe in the ancestral plane.
Flashback.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
in
that.
the ancestral plane.
Imagine if someone goes there and is like, "Holy crap! It's an evil ancestral plane, Killmonger." But he's not evil. He just he does
That
what
was
he
cute,
does.
their little handshake.
More matter. Yeah, I love this scene too. This is where
Like
you kind of get a
little
little bit more of
dab.
that modern lingo with the meme that's coming up with the sandals.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is so creative too. Just all the little gadgets and stuff. Mm-mm. I don't know. I'm still hit or miss on that line.
I can't help but smile.
I smile too.
Because now, after so many years, it's like nobody says that anymore because that was just like a
Yeah,
meme of a joke specific to 2018. So it's like funny to
yeah.
think about like, jokes that get old
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
Like, like now that joke is out of date. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
So
the
it's
thing.
kind of
Yeah,
silly. It's like we
it's
really ran
silly.
around to being like, "What are those?" And we thought it was hilarious every time.
Mhm. It's a
It
cool
it
cultural
makes
landmark in that sense. Like, it's cool to look back on this and be
yeah.
like, "That was that time period." But at the same time, it doesn't help in making this more timeless, like, people are gonna watch this and be like, "What is that?" Well, I don't get it. Um,
I don't know. I
actually
kind of like the some of the dated moments because it's like makes me think about like what that time in my life was like. You know what I
sure.
mean?
So on the sneakers, we got a shot of it, but I'm not going to rewind it obviously because commentary's got to keep going. But there is a series of characters on the sneakers in like the Wakandan language that they were like kind of Wakandan hieroglyphs, I guess you could call them, or Wakandan glyphs, whatever. They actually correspond to the
Sure.
26 letters in the Roman alphabet, and when you read the letters, it's hair, sorry, heir to Chaka, spelled Heir, like the heir to T'Chaka, the king. Like the
Yeah,
heir to the
that's
king.
funny.
But that's also another joke because it's like it means heir to the king, but also heir T'Chaka is similar to Air Jordans because they're sneakers.
Yeah,
So there's that little
yeah.
joke. So it's a little play on words almost, but you really have to be like a super nerd to figure that out. Yeah, you got to pause this and look up all the hieroglyphs. Like that's not in the Marvel Encyclopedia. That's probably in its own world. That's why I didn't make that information up. I read about that. That is not me coming to my own conclusion. I'm not that good.
Wow, that's great, Jill.
Snoop
I like
Dogg.
that footage.
Psy. Whatever happened to Psy?
I don't know.
He had Gangnam Style, then this song, and then he
Gangnam
dropped off the
Style
face of
and
the planet.
well, that song was a huge hit. He was probably like, "Wow, I never have to make another song ever again.
Right.
I'm taken care of."
What do you think of her wig here as a
It's
fashionista?
I'll be honest. Uh, I like Okoye all natural the way she is.
I
I don't care for
agree.
this wig moment.
I agree. Not a fan. But hey, she's beautiful no matter what. But
100%. Here is Nakia in green again. I love it. I love the theme.
do you think there's like a symbolism there, like green with envy because he wants to be with her but isn't and can't? Or do you think it's just
I
because she
don't
comes from
know,
that
Jill.
tribe? I don't know.
There could be layers to this. Although I don't know what she's to be jealous about. He looks pretty spiffy in the suit moment too, might I add.
hmm Yeah, Chadwick's looking good here too. Yeah, this whole cast is so attractive. Like so many good-looking people. Even Andy Serkis is not the most attractive here, but he's like a good. He's got beautiful eyes. That guy.
Yeah, you're right, Dill. He does. I was thinking about that the last
But
time.
I mean, my crush on Lupita Nyong'o will never die. Except when you watch Us, she's not. She's just terrifying there. But it's almost terrifying to the point where I'm like, I want to, keep watching you. So it's still an attraction, just a different type of attraction. It's more
Yeah,
you're drawn to her, not necessarily physically, but just drawn to her energy.
yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to see what her character does in the sequel because it's like her character in this is just solely connected to him, whereas I feel like now she can kind of have her own story, which is
Yeah.
going to be fun. But at the same time, it's like, what is that going to be?
Mm-hmm. Can
So
we
this is
please
the
focus?
Korean scene.
This is where
I
we're going
love
to see
this.
Stan Lee as a gambler.
Mhm.
And we're going to run into my good pal, Martin Freeman, as
Mhm.
CIA agent Everett Ross.
Yeah, this scene has great great moments, great comedy, great action. Grease Lightning.
How could you miss Grease Lightning?
There he is. So I forget, is he in any other MCU movies or just this one as of
He
now?
is in Civil War, and that's
But
where we
briefly,
meet
right?
him the first time.
Briefly, right?
Because Bucky gets turned over to the CIA, I think.
Right.
Because after Shield / Hydra gets shut down in Winter Soldier, that's where Sharon goes to work, is for the CIA. And that's how she helps Sam and Steve out during Civil War.
So Martin Freeman, obviously a great actor in the series Sherlock. I don't know if you've seen it. He's also Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit movies. When he was asked what it was like being one of the only few non-black actors on set, because usually it's like you have the token black guy with the other bigger group there, Stanley, awesome Stanley. That's kind of sad, but like for so many years it was always like, oh, you're like the token black guy, which I hate. I hate that like phrase. I hate the fact that it's like you can only have one. Like he's the, I hate that. So it's kind of fun that in this film there's really only one or two like token white guys.
Sure.
And he even said that he's like, right, this is what black actors feel like all the time. That's what Martin Freeman said, because he was like putting it into perspective. He's like, wow, this is what it's like. And then him and Andy Serkis, because they were both in Lord of the Rings together. Andy Serkis played Gollum and he played Bilbo. They refer to themselves as the Tolkien white guys, because J.R. Tolkien wrote the books for Lord of the Rings. So they were the Tolkien white guys. And honestly, if you're gonna have any non-black representation in this film, you couldn't find two sweeter guys than these two, Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis. Even though Andy Serkis is playing an evil guy, the two of them in person are just two of the most delightful people. I haven't met them, but just from interviews and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
That's another thing. This cast, it just feels like you want to hang out with them off camera too. Like they're just all likable people. No egos.
They all look like so cool. I'd be intimidated. I feel like you guys are so much cooler than me. I can't.
SoundCloud. I don't know the last time I used SoundCloud. There they are, the Tolkien white guys.
Tolkien. Jill, have you watched like Lord of the Rings? Like, are you a Lord of the Rings guy?
Yes. I did a whole draft day on it. Yeah. I love Lord of the Rings.
Maybe.
Love Lord of the Rings. Have you? No.
No. Should I?
Gotta get into it. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Lord of the Rings, it's a time commitment. That's the thing, because all the movies are like over 3 hours. So it's like you gotta really commit to it. Yeah, because there are these long epic books. The Hobbit is actually a children's book. It's short. And then they made it 3 movies and they made them long. They're not more than 3 hours, I don't believe. But the actual Lord of the Rings, it's 3 big books. It's a beginning, middle, and end. And the thing with Lord of the Rings, the movies, is they wanted to be as faithful as possible and cut as little out as they could. So they literally have just 3-hour movies. It's like a 10-hour commitment to watch all 3. But if you have a good day to just sit around, if it's raining and you have time and you want to just kind of indulge yourself in the atmosphere, then I'd say go for it.
That's crazy. You know, the only thing that I really know about like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies is that whenever someone spins Middle Earth in trivia movie Schmodown, they're always like, no, I gotta spin again. Like nobody wants that category ever.
Well, because the thing is, like, Marvel is so based in reality still. Like it's still like New York and South Korea and Wakanda's made up, but it's like it's kind of realistic. Like the places are real, whereas in Lord of the Rings, it's all made up places. It's like the Shire and Hobbiton and just all the
different. Give me like a baseline
locations.
summary, like a basic ass summary of what those books are
So
about. Those
I'll start
movies
with
are
Lord of the
about.
Rings. The Hobbit is a prequel, but like Lord of the Rings is the movies that came out first. So basically there's this ring that is like has all the power in the world, and it can make you like it can corrupt you with power. It can a lot of people are envious of this ring, and somehow this old man Bilbo has the ring, and the evil Sauron is looking for the ring. He's like this demonic presence, and he's looking for the ring. And Bilbo appoints his nephew Frodo basically to um, destroy the ring. And the whole thing is that Frodo wants to bring it to these other more noble people, like these people who are trained in combat and all this stuff, to help destroy the ring, the Fellowship, if you will. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, Frodo decides to do it himself, and that he wants to go on this adventure, kind of. And it's this kind of group of misfits kind of forms to bring this ring to the bowels of Middle Earth, to to destroy the ring. And it's about the whole journey of trying to destroy this ring. Meanwhile, this giant war is breaking out, and it's one of those things you can't really summarize in one big swoop. But it's this journey that Frodo takes with some friends and comrades to destroy this ring before anyone else can get hold of it and take over the world.
Gotcha.
And there's
I get it.
goblins and witches
Is
and trolls, and
is
um,
Frodo
he's a hobbit.
Elijah Wood?
Elijah Wood. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's Frodo and Sam, and then Merry and Pippin. They're four little hobbits, and then you got Gandalf the wizard, who's kind of the one who's telling Frodo. He's like, "You must go on this journey and destroy this ring, but like, we're gonna do it for you." But then he's like, "I'm gonna go on this adventure," and then all the hobbits are like, "We're going to," and it becomes this big thing.
Mm.
The second movie is more of like so it's like this big group thing, and then the second movie, it's kind of you see them in their own kind of little stories, and then the third one's kind of the culmination, the finale of it all.
I love this where she's driving the car from her lab in Wakanda, but it's like a remote control
Yeah,
like car, and you get what I'm trying to say.
that's gonna be one of like the
It's
best inventions of like
so creative.
yeah.
Nothing like we've ever seen in the MCU. And we really haven't seen anything like it ever again.
This action sequence is so good because my biggest qualm, it's the gray aesthetic, like the muddy aesthetic, and here it's at
Yeah.
nighttime, but everything's still vibrant. You can see everything, everything's crystal clear because you have all the cool lights in the street, and just very good camera work, great action. Like I don't have any complaints about the action in this film, except for the final act, which we'll get to, but that's almost a CGI problem, not really a choreography problem.
Yeah.
I love her. She's so cool.
Sorry, I'm just enthralled with Okoye right
Oh, I
now.
know. I mean, Martin Freeman himself said that he was like starstruck meeting Denai Guerrera because his son, that was Martin Freeman's son, his favorite character is Okoye. So actually, at the premiere, when they were promoting the film, he introduced his son Joseph to Denai Guerrera, and Denai Guerrera said that like the kid was so like enamored by it that he wouldn't let go of her hand when he shook it. He was just kind of like
Oh,
that. And she was just like so touched and moved by that because sometimes if you have the wrong hands, the wrong director, wrong writers, like that role could just kind of be a brush aside role. Like kind of how I feel like Io is in this film. I don't think they do much with Io in this. You see her more in
hmm
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like she could have just
yeah,
been another generic Dora Milaje, but because of Denai Guerrera and the writers, they really make Okoye such a great character.
yeah.
Where she's one of my top contenders to take over the mantle. I think I figured out in the preview who it might be, but I'm not going to spoil who I think it might be in case I'm right. But
Sure.
who are your bets? Like, who do you think will be the new Black Panther? I won't say yes or
I
no,
would
depending on what I think.
I would love for it to be Okoye Dale. I think based off of imagery and posters that I've seen, I think I might know who actually takes up the
Yeah,
mantle.
I think we're on the
But
same page.
I would have been happy with Okoye or Nakia because they're both badasses.
Yeah, it's funny. 4 days from now, we'll know. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it'll be as big a hit. I hope it is. Just in terms of like
I mean,
the actual money and the cultural significance, because like even if it's a better or worse story, I don't think anything can match the success of this in terms of just the overall cultural
yeah.
phenomenon that it was. Like
You
this
know,
was
Dill,
beyond the genre.
what I learned from Thor Ragnarok versus Thor Love and Thunder is that like lightning very rarely strikes twice. Because I feel like, and that's not even one of your favorite films in the MCU, Thor Ragnarok, but it,
Oh
it
yeah, Thor
is a fan
Ragnarok's
favorite, I feel like, generally
Mhm.
amongst the fandom.
Yeah.
Because we were all just so excited about what Taika Waititi did with that film. And now that he had like full reign control with Thor Love and Thunder, that one obviously wasn't as successful. But I have high hopes for Wakanda Forever.
hmm
I think that it's just too important for a culture and for a legacy that it be, you know, good.
So interesting to see that moment there where it's like all the cameras are on and T'Challa doesn't kill him, and then seeing
Hmm.
like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what happens when it's this power hungry white guy.
The world is watching.
hmm I just love the parallels that you can draw from two completely unrelated projects.
Yep.
Love him in this scene too. This is the charisma I'm talking about, where it's like he's evil, but he's so magnetic because of just his mannerisms and just his energy.
Like he's just having fun with it.
hmm Also impressed by Martin Freeman's accent. It's always impressive when people can do accents. It's always impressive when people do accents, but it's even more impressive when like they can just do American accents. Because American, for us, it's like there is no American accent, but then you hear a British
Hmm.
guy like him do it, and it's like, wait, there is. Yeah, talking about the influence, Black Panther, first movie in the MCU to have its opening weekend domestic box office. So that means North America, so us and Canada. Um,
Hmm.
first movie ever to have it surpass its production cost in the first weekend. So it took $200 million to make this movie, and between Thursday and Sunday, it had already made $202 million. So it was already breaking even in the
Wow.
first weekend, which we rarely see because these movies, because they're so expensive, it takes a while to get the revenue back. This movie
Right.
didn't matter because it was expensive, but you know, it made the money back easy.
Wow,
Probably
that's
made it back,
amazing.
yeah, before Sunday was even over. What is love? And it's fun knowing that these two are friends too because they did Lord of the Rings together. Like imagine that doing a good scene with like your old buddy where you have to play two
Yeah,
completely different characters.
that's gonna be just like a ton of fun.
hmm
And also to just have like two big franchises under your belt. It's like, yeah, I was part of the Lord of the Rings series, and I was in a few MCU movies as well.
hmm Well, that's what I was thinking about with Zoe Saldana. Like the number one and number two highest grossing films of all time. It's Avengers Endgame and Avatar. And you know who's the star of Avatar? Zoe Saldana. And
Mm.
you know who's
Hmm.
got a pretty prominent role in at least Infinity War, but carrying over to Endgame, it's Zoe Saldana, Gamora.
So, yep.
Like between Avatar, the MCU, and Star Trek, that girl's bills are paid for centuries. Lucky duck.
One day we'll know what that's like, Jill. One
But hey,
day.
if it's gonna be anyone, I'm glad it's her because she is awesome. And I'm
Yeah,
glad
she's
it's
pretty
her, not one of
awesome.
the more like A-listers, because I think she's a very prominent actress, but I still don't think she's like a household name for everyone. But like she deserves it because she's so talented.
Hmm.
Actually, while we're
She's another one
recording,
that seemingly has a type, alien-like creatures.
yep. As we're recording this, the Astros have won the World Series, and I'm not happy.
Damn. Well,
Yeah,
the Phillies, they put up a good fight.
they did. They
That
weren't even
first
supposed to
game
be in the
getting
playoffs.
7-0, that was
Mhm.
great.
It was the first home game. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, if you're anywhere but Houston, you probably agree with me that it's not fun to see the Astros win. If you're in Houston and you're an Astros fan, fine, great, but I will never be. Cheaters never
Yeah,
win, winners
no.
never cheat. But this year they did. So they didn't cheat this year though, supposedly.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
So this is technically their first World Series win without cheating. Their second World Series win total.
That's disgusting. I think that they should be banned from the league.
You'd think. Hey, listen, if we get negative comments on my video because I just talked trash about the Astros, that's gonna suck. But hey, I'm speaking my free
So
mind here.
be it.
Vibranium. So director
You
Ryan
like that?
Coogler, I was
Okay.
just gonna say, he compared the vibranium mines to the real life Congo mines. So like that's like an actual thing. Is like the whole like precious resources in Africa thing is like that's a big
Mm-hmm.
thing. 'Cause, there's a mineral called coltan, which is used in making like a lot of digital products that's found in the Congo region that is still being mined and still being a topic of conversation when it comes to world relations with Africa and stuff. It's always interesting to talk about like resources and stuff like that, and who gets to have them, who doesn't, what it means to hold them off from the rest of the world. And that's what I love about this movie, that it
Mm-hmm.
brings up is all the moral dilemmas of, is Wakanda doing the right thing in keeping the vibranium for themselves? Should they be sharing it with other people who need it?
Yeah.
Should they be holding it on themselves? Like, what makes them right or wrong? All that. And we're still not even at the crux of Killmonger's character. I forget how less of a presence he is in this first half, because the first half it's really all Claw. Like, he's there, but he doesn't really take over until later.
That was a great
As,
moment with the grenade.
yeah.
It almost reminds me of the moment in
Cap.
Captain America: The First Avenger, where he throws himself
Yeah.
on the grenade.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Black Panther would be able to lift Mjolnir.
You think?
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir. You're good. You're close. Close
Did
enough.
I say Cap or did I say Black Panther in that sentence?
Black Panther.
Okay, good. That's what I meant. Because we know Cap can lift the hammer.
So this is another great. See, the thing I love about this movie is all the inventions. So we're seeing here he got hit in the spine, should be paralyzed, but we see later that like there's this little stabilism chip that'll just allow his spine to heal for
Oh,
momentarily, and then sure he just fixes it. Like that's so amazing to me. Like I wish
imagine
I wish they could make this for
that
real. Like these
that these
technologies.
medical miracles actually happen. Yeah, me too, Jill.
That's the
Oh no,
magic of
my
movies. That's
cat's
the
here.
magic of cinema. Is that they can do that.
Oh, it's right here.
All right, so I have another Wakanda fun fact. During an
Oh,
interview,
lay it on me.
with Michelle Martin on the radio program All Things Considered, Okoye Denai herself said that the language spoken by Wakandans is a real language. So it's not a made up language. It's called, it's spelled Xosa. I want to say it's Xhosa, which is a South African language that is
Mm.
characterized by its clicks and its glottal stops. And I'm not going to try to do it because that would just be cultural appropriation, but you know what I mean. You know when you hear it. It's the same language that actually Nelson Mandela was native to, his hometown. So Nelson Mandela speaks Wakandan, or spoke Wakandan, pretty much. The Cape
Wow.
region of South Africa. And Mr. John Candy, the guy who plays T'Challa's father, older T'Challa's father, is also from that region. He is Xhosa. So he kind of set the groundwork for how that accent would be, how the way you would talk is, and that's actually where Chadwick and Denai Guerrera and Letitia Wright modeled their accents after, was John Candy, because they said, what is the most authentic way you would speak English with that accent? So John Candy did it, and they modeled it
Mm.
after him. So John Candy really made this Wakandan accent what it is.
Wow.
Because the accent is so cool. It's so, again, stoic. It's like got this like rich quality to it.
Yeah.
Man, so good. It would have been interesting to see what would happen if Daniel Kaluuya played T'Challa. I think he's a little too calm and chill for it, but
Hmm.
Kelsey, do you want to know who else was up for the role?
Yeah.
There are 3
But first,
MCU. Yeah. We'll get to this scene. Then when we come back, I'll have you
I
guess
just
the
want
3.
to say real quick before too much time had passed. So when they first brought Everett Ross in,
Mm-hmm.
Shuri had said, "Great, another white boy for us to fix." And I might have realized this during another watch through, but I'm like, the first white boy they're referring
Bucky.
to fixing is Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I just wanted to get that thought out of
No,
my
it's fine.
head before it
And
disappeared. But please tell me
I was just gonna
who
say
else was up for the role.
That's where it's interesting to see like the continuity, because this movie came out 2018, so it was right after Thor Ragnarok was the last one before this, and before that was Spider-Man: Homecoming and Guardians 2. So Civil War was the whole year before. So like if we're going in continuity and we're watching Civil War into this, the Bucky thing is probably at the top of your brain, but when you have 3 or 4 movies in between, you kind of forget
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
because actually after Civil War you had Doctor Strange as well, so you had 4 movies between Civil War and this one, I believe. Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Thor: Ragnarok. So it's like because this came out early 2018 before Infinity War, and Civil War was early
Home
2016.
Homecoming, Guardians 2, and Thor Ragnarok were all 2017.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it had been a while, at least a lot of movies since Civil War. So I get how you know, and it's been a while since the Age of Ultron, especially for Claw's character. So I remember seeing Black Panther and forgetting who Claw even was, that he was even in another movie, that Ross was in another movie.
Oh yeah. So Jill, we've totally brushed over this moment now where he totally like shoots through his girlfriend to get to Claw.
Yeah.
So does that make you kind of waver a little bit on whether or not Eric Killmonger is a villain in this movie?
Well, that's the thing. He's an antagonist. He has sound motives, but it's the way he goes about it that's villainous. And I think that's where he is a villain.
Yeah.
Because like there's always an argument of is he misunderstood or is he a hero? Is he a villain? He's definitely not a hero. Some would say he's an anti-hero, but I think the means in which he goes about what he's fighting for makes sense. Well, how he's fighting for it is where it's villainous, you know? So I would say he's a villain for sure. And he was number 1 on my villains ranking. I think we should redo it at the end of Phase 4 and see where the Phase 4 villains go. Like Gore the God Butcher and Agatha Harkness and
that'd be fun.
What's her name? The stupid one from She-Hulk.
Titania.
Yeah, lame villain.
Was she even the villain of She-Hulk? Who's to say?
Branded as it. So the 3 actors that were
up for T'Challa. Please tell us.
I'm gonna give you hints. The first one you might not get. He was only in Thor: The Dark World. So you're probably not going to know who it is. It was the guy who played Algrim/Curse. Do you know who I'm talking about?
You're going to have to give me more than that.
His actor name is Adewale Akinoye Agbaje. I'm going to try to pull up a picture so you know what I'm talking about.
He was in Thor: The Dark World. Did he speak?
Yeah, he's there we go. I pulled up a picture for you. This guy.
Oh, sure.
So he was up for it, didn't get it. Obviously, they're actors auditioning for a lot of projects, so he was up for that. The other one was Digimon Hansu, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy as Korath. He was also in Captain Marvel. Digimon Hansu. You know who that is, right?
Was he he was one of the Kree in the group of Kree?
I think so. Yeah, you're more of a trivia person than I am. He's the one when Star-Lord's dancing at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And he's like Star-Lord, and he goes, "Who?"
Yeah.
So I know exactly who.
Quiet Place Part 2, that guy. He was considered for it. And then the third one, I'm gonna have you guess. Just guess an actor from the MCU.
I'm just from the MCU?
Yeah. No, sorry. The 3 that were considered are all other people that got other roles. So basically, they didn't get this role. They got their other roles instead. So the one guy was sent to Thor: The Dark World. Digimon Hansu got a role in Guardians. And then the other actor got a role in a different film. And I'd argue that he lucked out.
Oh my God, you just gave me so much information. Was the other actor Michael B. Jordan?
No.
Oh.
I think Michael B. Jordan was always going to be like Killmonger because he's a Coogler guy. Like Coogler probably wanted him for his movie to be like, we're introducing you in this one. Whereas Black Panther was because we're talking about Civil War. When they were casting Civil War, it was up to these 4 guys. It was Chadwick, and then Adewale, Digimon Hansu, and then one other actor.
Okay, so I have to
I'll just tell you one more hint. Because of the movies that this guy was in, I assume they were casting for all of for Civil War at the beginning of Phase 2. So the movie he was in was before Civil War, so they got him actually a role before that. So it's not someone who came around later. I'm surprised you haven't gotten to this yet. Think of like the biggest characters in the MCU. Go through it.
All right, just give me a second, Dill.
I love this moment. This is where Killmonger really takes his own. This is where he becomes like the central villain. Because before it was, as we said, Claw. So it's nice to see him kind of like show up to Wakanda himself. How did he get into Wakanda again? Is it because of his lip thing? Like, how
Yeah,
was he able to
because
get there?
I don't
Like,
think he's. What do you mean? Like, how did he find it?
yeah, because isn't it like in that
Well,
secret bubble?
I don't think they're in it now. I think they're on the outskirts of the secret bubble. And then
Ah,
when he is there
he
to
shows the
meet
thing, and Daniel Kaluuya lets him in.
Wakabi, he is like, "Hey, I killed Claw and I belong here." So
Gotcha.
they're like, "Oh, I guess we'll take you then."
Still don't have a guess?
Was it like Don Cheadle?
No. You're on the right track.
Yeah. Really?
Don Cheadle was cast well before they were casting for this. Like, he was already War Machine Phase 1.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Once you say it, or once I say it, I'm gonna be like, you're gonna be like, duh. Go through the main heroes. Like, think of it. Like, who's the main character of the MCU?
Tony Stark. Okay,
All right,
was it
who's
Robert
next?
Downey Jr.?
No, who's next?
Captain America? And then
Yeah, it's Anthony Mackie, Captain America.
oh, Anthony Mackie? But he
Yeah,
was already Sam Wilson.
that's what I said. They were casting at the beginning of Phase 2. So he didn't get the role for T'Challa. Instead, they
Oh.
offered him Sam Wilson and had him start early in Winter Soldier.
See, I was the first person that came to mind was Anthony Mackie, but I was like, "Oh, but he was already
Well,
Sam Wilson in Winter
I was
Soldier."
gonna say Thor: The Dark World and Guardians were earlier than this. So it's like I think they all auditioned around the same time, and they said, "We want you three for the other movies. Chadwick, we're gonna save you for later." So
Okay, gotcha,
sorry
gotcha.
if that confused
Oh,
you. It's confusing because the timeline. This movie came out after all those movies, but I think they were casting all those movies earlier, and they kind of that was their consolation prize. This gives me Hogwarts vibes. I don't know why.
this
The
train?
trains, the mine, like it almost reminds me of the Gringotts stuff, but like a
Okay.
little more
Oh,
high tech.
yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
I get that. I get that, Dill.
I think Shuri, my favorite Shuri is this movie. Like I think she gets a little more annoying as the movies go on, but I hope they bring her
Oh,
back to the roots of the character in the
where
sequel.
she's just kinda, like, talking about the things she's invented?
Yeah, because here she's a little more wide-eyed. I guess they just don't use her effectively in Infinity War enough. Like she's in like a few scenes at the end, but I wish there was just
She's just
more of
trying to
her.
fix Vision the whole time.
Like I feel like we just get more character from her here, as we should, because this is the movie about Wakandans. So
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna get much more of her in Wakanda Forever.
I'll say so. Yeah, she's front and center on that poster. If we're alluding to what we were earlier. You want to hear something sad?
Sure.
Michael B. Jordan did not interact with any of his cast members on set because he wanted to keep distant, because he wanted to feel like Killmonger and the fact that he was distant from the rest. He didn't want to fit in with them because he wanted to kind of embody that. He wasn't method acting, but he was almost kind of like creating that separation,
Wow.
which I
I
guess
get
is
it.
fine. Like you're keeping yourself. You're not going to extremes in method acting. Like if he had started challenging people to duels and to actually giving himself those little scars around his body, I would have been like a little bit more like,
Oof.
um,
Yeah, no, no, no. Don't go scarring yourself. That's interesting, though.
mm-hmm.
I feel
Actually,
like it
this,
worked in his favor. He gives a very
yeah,
effective performance.
mm-hmm. And it does feel like an outsider because Michael B. Jordan's such like a charismatic presence too that it's like, how does he
Mhm.
not get along with everyone at first? Like, how does he butt heads with everyone? It's because I guess he had that method actingness. probably has the most names of any villain, right? He's Eric Stevens, also known as Killmonger, Eric Killmonger.
Killmonger.
And what's his Wakanda name? Do we remember? That's a 5-pointer.
Ninjaka.
Ninjaka. That's not going to be.
Ninjaka.
Unfortunately, that cannot be in your title match because I just said it.
I don't pronounce it well, but
I hope you know that anything that is said in this commentary, I will not be using for the title match because we've said it here. So I know you know it.
Oh, Dill. Even so, when I get to this movie, I'm going to be jotting down all kinds of notes, regardless if we said it or not. So I want to be ready in every aspect here.
I mean, the talent in this one room. Daniel Kaluuya, who has since won an Oscar, the same year that Chadwick was nominated for an Oscar. So you got an Oscar nominee, Oscar winner. Michael B. Jordan, never been nominated for an Oscar, but still like very well-respected actor.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four aside. Then you have Letitia Wright, who's an up-and-comer. You have Denai Guerrero, who's literally one of the main actresses on Walking Dead. Angela Bassett, Oscar nominee. Freaking Forrest Whitaker, who's like an Oscar winner and one of the greatest actors of all time. I mean, like, this is a great crop of characters. And this is the most important scene because it's like showing the flaws of Wakanda that I think is important in making it such a well-rounded character, you know?
And at the end of the day, his presence, they do change their ways at the end of this film. They do end up opening up their borders and helping people. So his efforts were not in vain, Eric Killmonger.
Speaking of helping people, animal shelters. This is a perfect segue to one of my fun facts.
Okay, great.
Adoption rates for black cats increased significantly following the release of this movie because I think more people were like, I want a little baby T'Challa, Black Panther. I know how you feel about cats, but good that they're getting homes and good that, you know, that more black cats are being adopted because of this film. So good for cats, bad for my allergies, bad for Kelsey's sanity, but good for cats.
I'm not a monster, okay?
I've had full 180 on cats. I love cats now. And you and Landon's my ex-roommate, best friend. Not ex-best friend. He's still my best friend. My ex-roommate. He now lives with his amazing girlfriend.
He's our ex-best friend. He's an exile.
No. I needed to separate ex-roommate from best friend. He's not my ex-best friend. He's my best friend, ex-roommate. Anyway, he does Marvel trivia stuff with us when we go to bars and stuff, but he doesn't like cats either. You and him both. So I try to keep the cat talk to a minimum.
But to be clear, I am in all favor of any animal getting adopted and getting a nice home.
I agree. I like cats now. Something I didn't think I'd be saying years later, but I've dated enough women who love cats. I've had enough good friends that love cats. I've seen the musical Cats enough to appreciate them more as animals than human hybrids. So like, I feel like I just like cats more. Like seeing Cats, the musical, I'm like, I like cats as the animal even better now. Does that make sense?
I just haven't found the right cat for me, Dill. Once I meet a cat that's not entirely like psychopathic, maybe I'll come around. Because they're like little sociopaths cats. They walk around and they hate everything and everyone. And they're just like, feed me.
I was going to say, for Taylor Swift's Eras tour, do you think she's going to sing anything from Cats?
Maybe her big McCavity number. She was in the movie. Let's not forget.
I might dress as what's her name, Bombalurina. Is that her name? Bombalurina?
Yeah.
Or is that a different cat?
Something like that.
So this one, what I love about this sequence is they purposely make the lighting a little bit more dim. Like it doesn't take place in the dawn of, like in the light of day. Like it feels like there's already a somberness before it even begins. Like you can tell that doom is impending in this. Like you can just feel in the air. It's just not good. And that's where I'm like, I like this aesthetic. It's not the gray, muddy aesthetic. You can still see everything clearly, but it still feels muted to the point where it effectively captures the tone, which I really love. Still in green, but do you notice the green is a little more muted too?
It's a darker green. It's an olive green.
What a beautiful choice. I love this movie.
Yeah, I think it was nominated for Best Picture for a reason.
Best Picture, Best Production Design. It wins Best Production Design. It wins Best Score, and it wins Best Costume. So 3-time Oscar winner for the sets, for the costumes, and for the score. Also nominated for the end credits song. Also nominated, of course, for Best Picture. And I believe those are the 5 it's nominated for. Maybe one other one. Maybe sound. Let me see. That I didn't write down. That was all on my memory. Oh, yeah. Sound editing and sound mixing. So it actually picked up 6 nominations.
Dill, Michael B. Jordan's taking off his shirt. I stopped listening to you a really long time ago.
What do you feel about the little burns? Because I have a fun fact on them.
I can't wait to hear the fun fact. I love the detailing. I love how that's like where he was in his head, that he was like, I want to remember each kill and literally mark it for permanently on my body like a tattoo.
Not nominated for
tell
makeup.
me a fun fact.
Not nominated for makeup. Why is that?
I don't know, but whoever was doing the nominees that year, maybe they were blind, because this makeup, come on now.
It wasn't one person doing them. It was a group of people voting, but
well, obviously.
You made it sound like it was one guy. Like, whoever was in charge of nominating everything. That's the Pickle Awards. The Pickle Awards are decided by
the one Academy member. What the heck was he on?
Makeup that year, there was a movie called Border, which I've never even heard of, that was nominated. Mary Queen of Scots. So you got the old costume drama, old wigs, and then the winner was Vice, turning Christian Bale into Dick Cheney. So I guess that makes sense. But I would have nominated this for makeup. Speaking of the makeup, the scars on his body, they're a form of body modification called scarification.
Go figure.
Go figure. That's a perfect phrase I was looking for there. A dying tradition carried out by some African tribes. Some tribes use it as a form of identity / social status, and some to mark milestones achieved in life. So almost like a gold star, but permanent. For Killmonger, each scar represented a person he had killed. Him doing this to his body can also be seen as a misguided way for him to connect with his ancestry. So almost like you're taking the wrong reason. You're taking the wrong inspirations from your heritage. You should not be wanting to get these scars. Like, killing should not be sport, but by the looks of all the scars, he's killed quite a bunch of people.
Well, he was also in the Navy SEALs, wasn't he?
He was what?
He was in the Navy SEALs, wasn't he?
The character.
He was like, yeah. No, not Michael B. Jordan, obviously.
Oh, ouch.
R.I.P. Forrest Whitaker.
I
Sorry.
actually missed it when he broke the spear in half. That was actually an ode to an old African warrior, Shaka Zulu, who's one of the most famous military leaders in history. So you reminded me of that when you said the thing about him being a military man, is that he was a Navy SEAL. It was an African warrior, Shaka Zulu. He couldn't understand why the Zulus would throw away their spears in battle, so he developed a short stabbing spear. Because I guess Zulus would just like toss their spear and fight. I don't know. I need to look more into that, but this is me, a white man from New York, trying to explain African culture, so I'm doing the best I can. Oh,
I love how you did like deep dives into everything, Dill. I love the background information.
Because that's stuff that it's like not like stuff you can just study. It's like just kind of like other information, like, you know, I don't need to tell you the names of the inventions. That's all. You got that. I'm just doing all the other shit, the stuff that doesn't matter, but also matters in enhancing it. Doesn't hurt, only helps.
Yeah.
Oh, this is heartbreaking, and she's the one who has to do it. Oh, no. Never mind. That's not her. She was from the back. I thought Ramonda was the one putting it on.
Oh, no. She runs off with the spear. I just realized that. She's like, shit's about to get real. We got to go.
Damn, and the Dora Milaje, I have to just kind of agree. Oh, that's heartbreaking. Especially in retrospect now, like seeing, you know, Chadwick in real life. It's sad.
And Okoye is just like, yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles in ritual combat.
It's really interesting, that scene. Also, we didn't even talk about the music. So Ludwig Göransson, when he did that, used specific West African instruments to kind of set that rivalry between the two. So T'Challa uses that drum, the drum you like. It's called the talking drum. So if you hit it harder, it'll play a different note than if you hit it softer. That's how the different kind of pitches happen. And for Killmonger, he uses the tambin flute, which is a type of African woodwind instrument. So that's kind of like their own motifs in battle. When you hear the different musical instruments coming over one another, it's because it's showing that battle, but with the actual instruments, which is cool. Which is another reason why it's an Oscar winner for best score, because it's just things like that are so well thought out.
Amazing. I love that detail.
I bet that line hits even harder for her watching this back if she ever does.
No, I save my country.
Love it. And I love how now we're getting a little bit more of Nakia's story. Yes, it's still in service of T'Challa, but like she's kind of taking matters into her own hands, which I like. Again, more beautiful production design, sets, all that. And again, the lighting really, just how you light something can change the whole tone. Because earlier this same thing happened, but because of how it's lit, it's just such a different vibe. Sad.
So he burns all the herbs. So I'm like, how is whoever's going to be the next Black Panther going to actually have the power of the Black Panther? You know what I mean?
I'm sure they got some stash somewhere. There's always a stash.
Some secret herbs.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's also tough too when Okoye just has to be loyal.
At the end of the day, like that's why the ritual combat's a thing, to decide who the next king is, and it wasn't ritual combat that it happened. I mean,
so I didn't look this up, but what do you think they used, as someone who's like, you're very much into makeup, but like, what would you say? This isn't makeup, but like, what do you think they used for that purple juice? Like, do you think it's like yogurt?
Yogurt. No, it's much more liquidy than yogurt.
Milk?
Honestly, if I had,
Looks a little thicker than milk.
It makes me kind of think it might be like corn syrup or something, just like dyed purple. It's got to be like thick.
Maybe it's paint, and they just made him so he wouldn't swallow it or something. I don't know.
Because
the actors are because it looks like paint, the thickness of it.
No one's putting paint in their mouth. That's still gonna poison you, even if you don't swallow it. You can't put paint in your mouth.
I love this choice too, where it's his apartment, but it's got the background the same, the purple. I don't know. Maybe it's like kind of like an eggnog type consistency, because it's got that creaminess, but it's still edible. Because like it's not milk, it's not that thin, but it's not yogurt. It's not.
No, it's.
But it's also it's got to be dairy. Because it's got.
I feel like it's some it's like a syrupy. It looks kind of sticky.
Maybe that's why they pay them so much money. Maybe it tasted like crap, but it's like you're getting paid millions or thousands of bucks. You gotta suck it up.
That's the thought I had when I watched Night of the Living Dead, when all those zombies are feasting on limbs. I'm like, what are you actually eating? I'm sure it's like chicken, but it's like, that chicken cannot taste good. Black and white
helps too, because it kind of masks the fact. Like here, it's purple, so you got to do something to it. Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting too. Yeah, Night of the Living Dead. Because in The Revenant, famously, as so many people have heard the story, but I'll say it again, Leonardo DiCaprio actually ate raw meat for that movie. So actually, when you see him gagging, it's because it was authentic. Because he's such a environmentalist, save the animals type person too. So he really wanted to commit to the character though, because he really wanted that fucking Oscar when Matthew McConaughey stole his Wolf of Wall Street one from him. So, he wanted the reality of it, and they actually had him bite into raw meat, and he kind of spit it up and gagged a little. Obviously, it was checked and made sure it wasn't salmonella, but that's commitment.
You're gonna get sick.
We did mention the score. I just want to say this is the first comic book score in 40 years since a certain film, I'll have you guess which one, to be nominated for Best Music at the Academy Awards. And I believe it's the only superhero movie score to win that award, which is pretty cool. So Ludwig Göransson, actually, no, that's not true. Joker won it a few years later. for Hildur Guðnadóttir, one for Joker, her score. But Black Panther and Joker are the only two comic book scores to win. Can you take a guess what the first original superhero movie to be nominated for Best Score was 40 years before this came out?
40
You probably,
years.
I don't know if you'll get it, but maybe you will.
Hold on.
Think,
Bill,
yeah.
don't discredit me before I've even made a single guess.
Well, because
So
I'll
you
tell you
mean
right
like
now, it's
in
not MCU.
1978?
Yes.
In 1978, a superhero movie from 1978. Superman?
Yeah. Nice job.
Really?
Yep. And do you know who did that score for Superman?
Oh,
You'll probably be able to pull this name out of your ass. I feel like
I
you would know this name.
I only know so many composers off the top of my noggin. Hans Zimmer.
No, Hans Zimmer. I guess he was working back then, but it's not Hans Zimmer.
Okay, do I get another guess?
Yeah, we have time. We have another 45 minutes till this ends.
I'm just guessing composers
guessing this guy's
for
name.
the
I'll
rest
give you
of the
a hint.
45 minutes.
He's probably won the most Academy Awards of any composer, and he mostly works with Steven Spielberg. But Superman was not Steven Spielberg.
Oh,
So think Indiana
huh.
Jones or Jaws,
Sure.
E.T. Oh wait, my favorite
Wow.
shot. This is my favorite shot. I love it. The whole world turned upside down, quite literally. Ugh.
The world turned upside down.
That's what I sing in my head when I see that shot. And then he sits in the throne. It's like, oh, man. And his reaction there, oh, that's so good. This whole movie just rocks. Like, if Endgame wasn't the perfect cinematic experience, this would probably be my number 1 or 2. I think this is my number 3 behind Endgame and Guardians. But I want to say this might be number 2 after this watch. And honestly, Endgame doesn't play the same on TVs as it does in theaters, so maybe Endgame will slip down over time. Any guesses?
Oh, sorry. I'm still trying to figure out what this heart-shaped herb liquid is.
Oh, that's what you're looking at.
I should really know
I can
who
just tell you. It's
composed
fine.
Jaws. No. I want to guess.
He also did Star Wars. That's not Spielberg, but he did Star Wars as well.
Dun, 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 dun. That guy? Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you another hint.
God.
This may not help you at all, but it's my grandfather has the same name.
Okay.
On my mom's side, so it's not Randazzo.
What would Becky's father's name be? Well, first of all, what was your mom's maiden name? Does that give it
If
away?
I say that, that'll give it away. Yeah. What if I was like Zimmer? Becky Zimmer.
I don't know, Jill. Just tell me.
Mr. John Williams. John Williams. You ever heard that
Wow,
name?
I never would have pulled that name out.
Wow.
Never.
That just goes to show how much of a movie buff Kelsey isn't, but that's why we love Kelsey, because she knows every detail of every Marvel movie, but if you ask her anything about any other movie, it's like she's just kind of a typical thing. She's not like a film bro. And that's a good thing, because people
I'm
really
a casual viewer.
You're a casual viewer, not a film bro. Like, you watch a lot of these movies, you just don't really do the research, because why should you? Because you're not a nerd like me. But we're gonna get you there. Yeah, John Williams.
I would like to be.
Yeah, John Williams won the score for Superman in 1978. Actually, he didn't win. He was nominated for the score of Superman in 1978. That's that score. So, good stuff, John Williams. Also did E.T., Jaws, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. Great composer. Probably the greatest since Mozart and Bach and all them. All right, here we go. The Jabari. Like I said, this was supposed to be in a rainforest, and now it's on a snowy mountain, which I like a lot. It's kind of like, just gives it another flavor to Wakanda. I love this design too. Like all the wood. Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Dill.
What?
This is the first I'm noticing, like, all the wood hanging around.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, yeah, you're right. It's yogurt or it's paint.
Oh,
I thought you
no.
found the answer.
It's no, I can't find the answer, but I did get a recipe for a cocktail called the heart-shaped cocktail,
Ooh.
which is made with coconut rum, pineapple rum, lavender syrup, creme de violet, and black currant syrup. So
Hmm.
maybe that's what they were drinking. Maybe they were having
Yeah.
a nice shot every time they got the
Yeah.
heart
All right. Let's
shaker.
take 12. Which I haven't been keeping track of all my Wakandas, but it's almost empty. I'm trying to pace myself so
My
it's still cold, but it's also not gone by the time this movie ends. But
I only have like a little bit left of my
what's
heart
your
shaped. I've
what's your
been
go-to drinking game drink, or like just go to like sitting around watching a movie, snack or drink?
um
I mean, besides popcorn, because that's the stereotypical answer.
Jill, I don't really drink if I'm not drinking for sport. I don't
Okay.
drink leisurely.
Okay, but let's say it is a sport in the sense of like a bunch of people are getting together. We're gonna like have a cool movie night, and we're all just gonna like
Okay.
have fun and like not casual, but like we're all here. Like it's an event, like a Super
You know,
Bowl.
I like a hard cider.
A hard cider. Okay, so that's different than a
Yeah.
hard seltzer.
Well, if I'm drinking a beer, it's a Blue Moon.
Yeah, good choice.
Um,
Good choice.
I I don't really drink ciders because I mean, not ciders. I don't drink like seltzers because I don't really love seltzer.
I don't really.
Herb
I see. I
Miami.
like seltzer, but if I'm gonna have seltzer, I want it to be like a refreshing seltzer, not alcoholic. If I'm gonna have something alcoholic, I'm gonna have something with a little more flavor. Um,
Sure, yeah.
which I mean, we're both legal. We can talk about this, so it's like whatever. But if I'm just sitting around casually, like right now, I have a Coors. Coors is the best because it tastes the best when it's cold. For some reason, a cold Coors is just the most refreshing thing. But if I am like out at a restaurant or something, it's always a Blue Moon, like you said. Like I like it in the glass though with the orange. Like you need the full vibe. You need the chilled glass with the orange, the Blue Moon.
Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
love
see,
Blue
there you go.
Moon.
There's where the herb was. Nakia had it in her
I
lapel.
know they have it for him, but then how are they gonna get another one in the next movie?
I'm sure they'll plant some more.
I hope so.
I
I
call
hope
upon Bast. Do you know what Bast is?
Bast.
Yeah, they said I
Oh,
call.
isn't that that's the panther, isn't it? That's like
Maybe.
the name of the panther. They
Gotcha.
said it in
I
the
didn't know.
beginning.
See, that's why you having watched it 17 times is more valuable than me watching it 7. Because I did look on Letterboxd. This is my 7th time watching this movie. That's why I like Letterboxd because you can
Yeah.
keep track of when you watch stuff and then you can go back and see how many times you have watched something. So like Black Panther, ready for this? I watched it for the first time on February 16th of 2018, the weekend it came out. Then I saw it again in April of 2018, right before the day before Infinity War came out. Then I watched it
Hmm.
again in July of 2018, which I believe was with you, right? Because I think you watched it with me and my mom at my house. Um, and then I watched it again in February of 2019, I think, in prep for the Oscars of 2019. Then I watched it again in September of 2020, right after Chadwick passed. And then I watched in August of 2021 with my friend Lori when she was doing the binge. So I've watched this movie 6 times. This is my 7th time. And that's thanks to Letterboxd. I can keep track of all those times and all those dates.
Wow.
And my star ratings for all of them, which are all 4 out of
I
5. How many times would you say you think you've watched this movie?
More than 5, less than 10.
Okay, it's probably about the same.
Probably the same as you. Because this one has just such
Oh no, this is Chadwick's
rewatchability.
best acting. This is his best.
Yeah.
Oh, John Candy, bless his soul, but that lazy eye always kind of. Sorry if that's mean, but it always kind of makes me go,
Wait,
oh.
what'd you say?
Oh, I was talking about John Candy's lazy eye.
Oh, yeah.
You've never noticed that? Look at him.
It adds character. I
Yeah, it
like
does.
it. Leave
I
him
know it's cute.
alone.
He's a cutie, but it's like it's funny because it's not funny, but it's like it's interesting because it's like you don't see that a lot. But that's why I
Mhm.
like him. He's a cool looking dude. Oh, like I can't imagine watching this back, like with his legacy, like for these actors. Do you think they watch this back, or do you think it's too much for them?
I would say that it might be too much.
Yeah, like I don't think I'd be able to watch it. Like if I was in a movie with someone that was like our lead, and I was doing a sequel without them and having to go back and watch the original, I don't even know if I'd watch it as is, even if he was alive. Because like I feel like watching myself is like my least favorite thing to do. I have to do it when I'm editing videos, but then after I'm edited them, I watch it once through and I'm done. I never watch it again.
So Bass is the cat goddess.
Okay, there you go. So like it's the panther god that they pray to, I guess.
Basically a panther god, yes. That's exactly what it was.
Kelsey, how do you feel about watching yourself back on video? Like, would you be able to watch yourself back, regardless of whether a cast member passed away or not? Like, would you be able to watch a movie back that you were in, or would it be too weird?
Oh, Dill, I'm a narcissist. I love watching myself and things.
Okay. All right.
So yes, I would 100% be able to watch a movie I was in. I think that if I ever get to the point of success where I'm watching something that I'm in and it's a big feature, hopefully maybe one day, I think I'll be
Mm,
rather nervous. But once I get past that, I'll be like, damn,
right.
I really did this, didn't I?
Hmm.
This is a good Mbaku moment.
Yeah, I love their dynamic too. It's just such a great friendship that it's such a short amount of time, but we feel like they have already had such a great arc. Mm.
I finished my cider. Oops.
How was it? 10 out of 10.
It's good. Not too sweet. I'm not gonna have a headache, which is nice.
Isn't that funny? The next movie he stars in is called Us.
Mm, that is
Not
funny, Dale.
intentional, but that is funny. So Chadwick Boseman, let's just talk about him real quick. He wins Best
Sure.
Hero at the 2018 MTV Movie and TV Awards, and instead of taking the award,
Nice.
he invited James Shaw Jr. up, who is the Waffle House hero. You ever heard about the Waffle House hero?
No, Jill, please enlighten me.
So James Shaw Jr. Basically subdued a gunman at a Waffle House in Nashville. So
Oh,
the gunman killed 4 people, but Shaw was able to prevent any other people from getting killed. And Boseman basically brought him up on stage and said, "I don't need this award. This guy does," and gave it to him at the MTV Movie Awards. So
wow.
it's already an awards that doesn't really mean anything. Yet he did make it mean something for someone else because he was like, "I don't need this award," because that was who Chadwick
Yeah,
was. He was like he didn't care
yeah.
about his own personal victories. It was like he wanted to,
Oh my God.
yeah, man. I gotta say, I love Daniel Kaluuya, but I don't like this character because you can tell Okoye is struggling with the toll of having to
Yeah.
like choose sides, but
Well,
like,
he
but
comes
he doesn't.
around at the end because
He
he
he does,
stops
but
fighting. He
she's gonna whip
surrenders.
some sense into him though.
Yeah, you can tell who wears the pants in this relationship, and it's not him.
And now we're getting to my least favorite part of the film, only because it's that MCU thing of that just the visual effects are just not up to par. Because so much of this film is practical too. It's like so much of it is rich and actual
Are
practical
you mad
stuff.
at the rhinos?
Yeah, we'll get
You're
there.
mad about the rhinos.
We'll get to the rhinos. Like
I've
him,
met
I
like
don't mind him himself, but
maybe I'm just
like,
not intellectual enough to pay
well, just
attention to these
take a
things,
look
but
at them because when you look at them, like,
they
do
don't
they
really
look real?
take me out of it.
They don't
I
really
don't
take me
know.
out of
I've
it
never
either.
watched
But
this movie and been distracted by poor effects.
all this, like the fire and the smoke in the back, it's like, it just kind of just feels a little sloppy, but it is what it is. Like, that's the thing. It's when you see a movie so many times that you love, it's like you got to find something to be critical of. And I just think going the whole CGI finale route is so typical. But I mean, what else are you gonna do?
I mean, their whole fight is hand to hand.
Yeah, but it's got a lot of like glitz and glam on it. With like, it's almost like it just feels very video gamey. Whereas like
Well,
we've talked in the action bracket, like the gladiator scenes are so cool because it's just two guys fighting. Like there's no glitz and glam. There's no big special effects. It's just combat.
but I think at the end of the day, like, you're signing yourself up to watch a superhero movie. Like, you gotta expect some,
Right.
glitz and glam to it.
But even like Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man, the Raimi ones, it was like everything felt real. Like it was the webs like
Well,
looked like you
everything
could.
kind of had to be real, Dill. They didn't have what we have today with like
Right.
CGI back in the early 2000s.
I just prefer that.
I hear you.
Especially when the rest of the movie is so naturalistic. That's my point. Is like if it doesn't all feel like Infinity War feels digital from the beginning because like Thanos is digital. They're on a different planet, so immediately it's like set up as
Yeah.
like this like CGI fantasy. Whereas here it's like so much of it is rooted in like the culture and the land that it's like now it's all these like big lasers and shit around. It's not the worst thing. I still love this movie. It's just this is my least favorite part of it, just because it offers the least in my opinion. Like I'm much more engaged by story and other design elements, I guess. But I gotta say, Dora Milaje are badass. Look at them.
But
Even the
there's probably
Go ahead.
there's probably people who watch these movies for this big spectacle at the end. You know what I
And
mean?
that's cool. Yeah, and that's just my opinion. I'm not telling y'all it's right or wrong. It's just how I feel. And I'm valid in thinking so, Kels. Just like you're
Get the
valid in thinking otherwise.
rhinos.
Oh boy. So these
Call those
rhinos.
rhinos.
They used horses for these rhino shots. They used horses to try to get the same because they apparently have the same hip movements. These
Yeah.
Clydesdale, I think that's how you call it. Clydesdale horses have the same hip movements as these rhinos. So that's how they
Clydesdale?
kind of Clydesdale, I guess. Yeah, I don't know horses.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But
I'm
that's
not a
kind of how
horse
they got
girl.
the movement of those horses, of those rhinos. But the rhinos, I think themselves look kind of tacky. Like they don't look real.
I like how they get him involved. I like how they get
Yeah.
Everett
But not to
Ross
the point
involved.
also where he's like white savior either, because that's the whole thing with a lot of
Oh,
movies.
no,
It's
no,
like the
no.
white savior thing, like Blindside, where it's like, oh, this white
Oh
woman
my
took you
god.
in, and now you're a better person. Or like
Right.
Green Book, where it's like, oh yeah, you taught him how to be a nice white guy instead of a racist white guy, but he also taught you how to enjoy fried chicken because you should embrace your black roots. And he's like, yeah.
Wait, what movie are you talking about?
Green Book, the one that won Best Picture, the one with the guy who drives him.
Oh.
I actually do like that movie more
Wait.
than most. It actually beat Black Panther for Best Picture in 2018. It's not a
Damn.
terrible movie. Like it's got a sweet friendship, but I do think, it shouldn't be like. I think some movies are sweet stories, but shouldn't be like the movies we teach people about racism with. You know what I mean? Like we should not be using Green
And
Book as
now
like
that
a
guy's gonna be Blade, right?
Mahershala Ali. Yep, and he's great in it.
Mahershala
He's the
Ali.
best part of it. But it's like we should not be using that movie as like the lesson for other people to like in like how to treat others with respect and not be racist. It can be a part of it, but like we need to show more movies like this about multicultural relations and just black culture and celebrating black culture and all that stuff, and stuff like Spike Lee's movies where it's actually made by black directors and filmmakers rather than a movie about a white guy made by a white guy where he and a black guy learn to get along even though he's a racist driver. But I do still like Green Book because I think it actually is enjoyable. Like I enjoy watching it. Like it's a fun movie, but it's not Best Picture. It's not better than this.
Sure.
Actually, let me pull up the movies that were nominated that year, and you let me know if there are any that you think would rival this from what you've seen. I believe there were 8 nominees that year. Yeah. So Black Panther was up for this, obviously. Green Book won. But we also have Black Klansman. Have you ever seen that? The Spike Lee movie?
I haven't seen it, but I definitely heard of that movie.
Yeah.
And
Bohemian
I definitely
Rhapsody.
felt like
which
Yeah.
I do not like. The Favorite, the one about Queen Anne, the lesbian
Yep,
drama.
I
That's a
saw that.
A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
Roma, the Mexican film from Netflix, and Vice, which is the one I talked about with Dick Cheney and
yeah.
George Bush. So um,
Wow,
the
that's a
most
good
progressive of those
year for
nominees was
movies.
Black Panther and Black Klansman were like the two most progressive, I'd say. But the Academy thought Green Book was, I guess. Um,
Yeah,
but personally, I would have gone Star is Born. That's my favorite of that slate. I love that movie.
that one was okay. The only reason why I saw The Favorite was because Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Joe Alwyn, was in The Favorite.
He's good in
And
that
so
movie
I
too.
went, yeah, so I went with me and our friend Taylor, and we had no idea about whatever else went on in the story.
It's a
So then
crazy
when
story.
Emma Stone and Olivia Colman started hooking up, we were like, "Yo, what's going on?"
That's such a cool
But
movie because it's like, yeah,
it was
it's
a
funny, it's dark comedy, but it's also
yeah,
about like politics but it's also about jealousy and betrayal and rivalry. I love that
yeah.
movie too. That would have been my like runner up. It would have been that or Star is Born probably. But you know what else came out that year that was not nominated for Best Picture, but one animated feature was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So good year for superhero movies.
Nice. Good year for
Black
superhero movies.
Black Panther, Infinity War, Spider-Verse, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, all 2018. And Incredibles 2.
Wow, and Incredibles too.
I'm trying to think if DC had anything in 2018. They must have. Not Wonder Woman, that was 2017. Actually, 2018 might have been a dark year for DC. Let's see. Let's see, DC. Uh, Aquaman came out in 2018. That was DC's
Mm,
movie. So a lot of good superhero movies. I like Aquaman. This is
I
actually,
have
I don't mind this stuff. This is cool visuals.
okay.
I like the
I've
waviness
only
of kind
ever
of like the
seen
radioactiveness.
Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad as far as DC movies go. Those are the only
The
ones I've
good
seen.
one.
And The Dark Knight we watched in high school.
Right. But that's not DCEU. That's just DC. But it is still a good
All
movie.
right. Well, I don't know the technicalities of it all.
No, I know. I'm
My
not saying
bad.
you. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I'm just saying like it. Came out way earlier, and it was its own anomaly. Like the Dark Knight was its own beautiful masterpiece thing outside of
Hmm.
because the DCEU itself has had some duds, but that was after because Dark Knight came out the same year as Iron Man. So Iron Man MCU had their
The
start
Dark Knight came out in
2008.
2008.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it came out like later. I feel like The Dark
No,
Knight came out in like 2012.
no, the Dark Knight
If I had
Rises
to take a
did.
guess.
Dark Knight Rises, which was the third one in that
No.
trilogy, came out in 2012. So that was the thing is that was before they even thought about making a universe. But then Marvel made a universe, and they were like, "Oh, we want to get in on it." So they didn't start till 2013 with Man of Steel, starting their DC universe, their DCEU. So before then, they just had one-offs like Dark Knight or the Dark Knight trilogy, and and they haven't been going back since. So we'll see. Dark Knight's great though. Do you like the Dark Knight?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
One of our assignments when I was in theater school was doing a monologue of like a character that you'd like never really play. And
Or
I
like
did
against
one
type.
of the joke yeah, and I did one of the Joker's monologues from The Dark Knight
Mm,
because I idolize Heath Ledger so
he's
much.
great.
He
So
was
good, or
another
was good.
actor that we lost too soon.
And he died
Um,
before the movie even came out in 2008. He died
mhm,
January 2008, and Dark Knight came out, I believe, in July or August of 2008.
tragic. And he won the
Um,
Oscar, and his family accepted it on behalf of
he did.
him.
Yeah, very sad. I love him.
And that would just
So
be
cool.
such a fun character to play, the Joker, I think.
Well, we've had so many too, because we had the original. Um, I believe was it Cesar Romero. I don't want to misquote myself from the '60s, like the original Batman. Um, Jokers, 1960s. Cesar Romero? Did I have the right? Yep, Cesar Romero. I'm good. Cesar Romero in the 60s, he was the original TV Joker in the movie. And then Jack Nicholson did it in 1989 against Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Michael Keaton as Batman, then Jack Nicholson was the Joker. And then Heath Ledger did it. And then after him, Jared Leto did it. Not as good. In the Lego Batman movie, it was Zach Galifianakis, the fat guy from The Hangover, was the voice of the Joker. And then most recently in The Batman, it was Barry Keoghan who did the Joker in one little scene. So a lot of Jokers. And Joaquin
we
Phoenix.
can't forget Joaquin.
Forgot about Joaquin because I don't like that movie, but he's great in it.
Oh, damn.
They're making a sequel. It's a musical with Lady Gaga. I wonder how that's going to be. Ooh, and Lady
Come
Gaga
again?
will be Harley Quinn. You didn't know about that?
They're making a sequel to Joker.
With Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. It's they say it's a musical.
Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's got some French title. I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it's coming out next year, I think.
Wow. Good job, Martin Freeman.
Yeah. I'll hear those rhinos. I love
Again,
the sound design.
the rhinos.
Oh, yeah, this is a great moment between the two of them, Wakabi and Okoye.
See, they know her.
They look better up close, I think, honestly. Like when they're staying still. Like that shot looked good, where he was licking her. Whereas like when they're running and stuff and jumping, like they look fake.
For my country, yes. Without question or something. Oh. Yes, I knew it.
You're close.
I've seen this movie too much. Is there such a thing?
There's that music. Yeah, I don't have any other fun facts. That was it for fun facts, but we're almost at the end. Can't believe it.
I have a fun fact. It's not fun at all. It's quite tragic.
Oh, no.
Aaron Carter passed away, Dill.
He did. Yep. Backstreet's not back. All right. Sorry. Terrible.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean, it's very sad. Aaron Carter, obviously, for theater people, I mean, aside from Backstreet Boys, I mean, he was, the original JoJo and Seussical. He was a big part of my childhood.
Yes.
But very tragic. I don't know how he died, and I don't want to get into that right now, just because by the time people are listening to this,
I know do know it's not disclosed to the public yet.
I know where he was found and the cause of death, but I don't know how he ended up there, if that makes sense. But like I know where he was found. But
wasn't he just found in his home?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you off camera. I don't want to bog down this commentary talking about it was very similar to Whitney Houston type scenario, but I don't know if it was drug related or something else. We'll talk off camera. But
all right.
Yeah, powerful moment here coming up with these two.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like these final moments between the two are so good. You can see the two of them both kind of like in their feels here. But yeah, that's like the first big like modern boy band star, right? Like because like it was always Backstreet versus NSYNC, and I feel like he's the first unfortunate tragedy of that.
Yeah, I was reading about his life, and it said that he put out his first album when he was 9 years old, and he went on tour with the Backstreet.
Yeah, he was part of Backstreet Boys. His brother was as well. Nick Carter and Aaron Carter.
And he went on tour with Britney Spears. That's a hell of a life to lead.
And Lizzie McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love this too. I just think the lighting is so good in this film because there's so many elements that are CGI, but it's like still very clear that even in CGI, they're lighting things very well to give a sense of mood and tone and
like this sunset.
Yeah, like the sun setting and what that represents. Similar to Star Wars, I won't spoil, but a main character death has a similar death where they're staring out at the sun as they fade away. It's beautiful, just like this. Honestly, this didn't feel as long as it is, like I guess maybe talking about it helps, but this movie always feels like it goes by
flies.
Which is a testament to how good it is, Where does this rank in your rankings? Like, is this top tier?
Oh, for sure.
Is this like
This
number one?
is I might not say number one, but I'll definitely say like for sure top 5.
There we are, because they knew death was better than bondage. That is an amazing line. I heard, actually, I do have one more fun fact. This is just something I
Go
remember
ahead.
hearing a while ago. Kevin Feige, obviously, there are some rewrites of scripts and stuff, and there's editing that goes on, but he said from the very beginning that was the one line he didn't want touched at all. He was like, I don't want anyone to
Hmm.
touch that line. He said that was the best line he's ever read in a first script. So he
Nice.
read that line in the script and said, we're not touching that. That's the best line I've ever read. And there's that music. So good. If the sequel's bad, what do you think that hurts this movie at all, or do you think this is still going to stand on its own as like a great movie? Like, do you think Thor: Love and Thunder not being as great as you'd hoped brought down Thor Ragnarok at all for you, or do you think?
No.
Okay, so you still think this is going to still stand up as one of the best no matter what happens with the sequel?
Yeah. 100%.
I'd like to agree. Is Nakia in green again? Yes, she is.
Hell yeah, she is. A nice
And
bright
now it's
green
bright.
to
Yep, nice
celebrate.
striking green.
We've been tracking. See, we've been tracking Nakia's costumes this whole movie, and we found the pattern. We found the sequence. We've cracked the code.
I mean, hey, costume designers are some of the hardest working people, and especially for a movie like
And
this, where
she
every
is
person,
still in green.
every extra has to be. Now it's kind of a soft, warm green because he's warming back up to
Yeah.
her, and they're gonna get it on. Do you think
It's just
we may see a little baby T'Challa in the sequel?
that would be crazy.
Kind of carrying on the legacy.
I don't know, Jill, because I don't know how I would feel about that because it feels like every important milestone in their relationship
Ooh, kissy, kissy. Sorry.
would have been off screen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that kind of has to be, I guess. Oh, she even has green earrings here. Yeah, I love these two. That's the one thing we'll never get to see more of them, but that's what makes these moments special too, of seeing them in this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're obviously going to stick through the credits because there is obviously post-credit stuff, and then we'll head out. But we're nearing the end. You ever seen the movie Moonlight, the Best Picture winner Moonlight?
No, should I?
Yeah, the little kid from Moonlight, the one who plays young Chiron, is this kid right here. The kid that has like the final line and stuff. He's in this movie, which is cool. It's like he wasn't a Best Picture winner, and then they said,
Wow.
"You want to be in a
Who
Marvel movie?"
directed Moonlight, Dill?
Barry Jenkins, who has only done a few films since. He did that. He did If Beale Street Could Talk, and he's doing a prequel to the live-action Lion King about Mufasa and Scar growing up.
And it's going to be live action?
Yeah, it's going to be like the same as the new Lion King, like the same tone and stuff. It's going to be exploring Mufasa's rise to kingdom, I guess.
Dill, a few cues. Did you see the first live action Lion King?
Yeah, I wish I hadn't.
Oh, okay, good to know. Second question. Did you see Bros?
I did see Bros. I liked Bros.
I gotta
Did you
see
see Bros?
Bros. No, I gotta get there. It's probably not in theaters anymore.
Might be in a few. Who knows? But they filmed a scene in our hometown in Cranford.
I heard.
And it's literally 2 seconds long. Literally, if you're going for that, don't. But I think you should still go because it's great.
No,
But
I
if you're
want to
watching
see
it
it
for the
because
sole
I think
purpose of
Billy
seeing your
Eichner is very
hometown,
funny.
he is very funny. A little raunchy. Just prepare yourself. A lot of naked, sweaty men.
I'm not afraid of a little raunch. So there's
this
two
kid.
kids in here actually that are not this kid, but there's a set of twins in this group of friends that are all playing basketball, and they're in Euphoria.
Oh, very cool. Another show I haven't watched, but I need to. Big Sydney
Oh,
Sweeney
you
fan.
should, Dill. Dill, you want to talk about raunch? We got to talk about Euphoria.
I have heard. I've heard.
But if you want to
I've
see
seen
Zendaya
some.
do some serious acting, watch Euphoria.
Here we go.
And MCU
that
acting.
smile. And there we go. And here is the best original song nominated All the Stars, written
All
by
the
Kendrick
sun
Lamar.
goes up.
To say, always a favorite for scores and soundtracks. We always try to fit in a question about All the Stars. I feel like we've asked 3 questions. Like, one was who wrote it, another one was like what film features it, and another one was
Yeah.
what song from Black Panther. I feel like we've asked that question a bunch, so we might have to retire All the Stars. But Rihanna is writing songs for the sequel. That was part of the news
Oh,
that
nice.
I was going to save
That's
for
gonna be
next week,
good.
but by then it'll be old news because our episode next week is going to be, if you're watching this the week we're releasing it, the next week is Wakanda Forever. So next week we will be back with our Wakanda Forever review. And the week after that, because we're going to be approaching Thanksgiving, Kelsey and I have been putting on the back burner for so long a food-related podcast. And we will be tasting the MCU menu. I officially decided we're gonna find a time to film, Kelsey, whenever we can before then, so I can edit it, so we can prepare it. But this is coming out the 7th. The 14th will be our Wakanda Forever review. The 21st, the Monday before Thanksgiving, we are going to be eating our own feast of Marvel goodies, including the long anticipated ice cream pizza from Ms. Marvel. So,
Ew, bro! I'm gonna throw up. It's fine.
Yeah. I love this title sequence too. The song's great, but also this kind of sand vibe. I love the sand. I love sand. There's green for the Kia.
The green, classic.
That's something I never noticed in this
And
film. That
Okoye
she wore
gets
green in
red.
every scene. Like every scene, she's in green. There's a rhino. It's the best looking rhino in the movie.
I liked the rhinos.
I don't know why Letitia Wright, they gave her they look like butt plugs. I know they're not, but
Dylan.
what were
I
they?
think
Her
they were like
wrist
wrist things.
Yeah, I know, but
that she uses in the last fight.
On their own though, when they're little lumps of sand like that, they look like the butt plugs from
Angela
Everything Everywhere
Bassett.
All at Once.
Forrest Whitaker and Andy Serkis.
Yeah, I love how he gets that last and, because he's a legend. Andy Serkis, so good. All right, here we go. Post credits. I forget what this is. Is this actually? Well, I guess we'll find out right now. Austria. Oh, that's right. United Nations.
Oh, it's the scene of them, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna
so is this
open
green?
up all our."
Is that green?
She's in yellow.
Or is that like a lime green? Maybe. Yeah, it's like a neat. Yeah, that's.
It's on the borderline between green and yellow.
Yeah, it's a yellow green, I guess. Man, just when we thought we had it cracked. His outfit's sweet here too. Man, what a great actor. What a beautiful talent gone too soon. Probably the most heartbreaking death of my lifetime in terms of just when he passed and how much of a peak he was at,
I'll never forget where I was where you texted me, Jill.
Mm-hmm. I was down the shore. I was
down the shore.
I was watching a movie Trivia Schmodown live event and on my computer, and I just saw that in the live chat, everyone talking about it. I'm like, what? Chadwick Boseman? I looked it up. It's heartbreaking. But great legacy he's left behind. And, I mean, Heath Ledger was tough, but at that age, I was only 10, so I still didn't really know who he was beyond the Joker. And it hadn't even come out yet, but I was like, oh, the guy playing the Joker died? Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
And I remember where I was when Michael Jackson died. That was my 5th grade graduation. The day of my 5th grade graduation, Michael Jackson died. And I wasn't a big enough Michael Jackson fan at the time, but I knew who he was. I knew his popularity. And obviously since then, finding out the things I've found out, can't say I'm a huge fan, but of him. Huge fan of his music, but I remember that one was a big one too.
I don't remember that. I don't think I was conscious.
Yeah. I mean, and just this year has been tough too with all the losses. A lot of great comedians. Gilbert Gottfried, sadly, and most recently Leslie Jordan. So this is a game, and I'm just gonna say Trevor Noah. When was Trevor Noah in this? Was he the voice of something?
Oh, he is in it. I think he's the voice of when he's telling Martin Freeman when they're shooting at the glass, and I think he's the voice that's like,
Very
the glass is at 50%. Because
So
he just talked about that on his show.
So I'm going to take a game from our very favorites, your favorite Mara Kanopik from the Schmodown, and one of my favorites, Dan Murrell from the Schmodown. A great couple of the Schmodown. The Schmodown has since ended, which is sad, but all their matches are so great. They're both multiple-time champions of the Schmodown. They play a game when they do their watch-alongs and commentaries where they look to see if anyone has a name that is a food. And like that's a game. That's how they keep themselves entertained through the credits. Is they look for the names and to see who can
A
find the
name
name
that
of a
is a
food.
food?
So
Like
like someone's
tortellini?
like Kevin Bacon. Like bacon is a food.
Oh, okay.
So like they look through the names because then it makes the credits go by faster. Because credits, I think I always stay for the credits because I love to
All
like
right.
pay respects to the
This
people.
this
What?
guy's name is Craig Tex Barnett, so that made me think of Tex-Mex.
No, it
Kind of
has
a
to be like
stretch, though.
direct. Yeah, it has to be direct.
All right, all right.
No, I know.
I'm doing
I'm
my
telling
best
you
out
the
here.
game. No, I know. It's sometimes it doesn't happen, but the good thing is like it helps the credits go by faster because, like I was saying, I like to sit through the credits. I like to pay respects to the people who made the movie, and this is a good way to do it to actually be able to read all the names as you kind of go through, seeing if you can find a food. So thank you, Dan and Mara, for inspiring that. I'm looking on the left side. I'm not even going to the
Brussels.
right.
Jeremy Brussels. Brussels sprout.
See that's interesting because Brussels sprouts. It's a sprout from Brussels, Belgium. Like so, Brussels is more the location than the food, but that's the closest we're getting. That's good. Let's see if we can get any more specific. Brussels a good start. Dana Baker. But that's someone who makes food, not quite the food itself. You know. Oh, beers. Sarah Truly Beers. There you go. That's a drink.
Ah,
Let's see if we can get food.
Dylan, you won.
It's not a contest. It's more like we're doing it together, like trying to figure out. So if you see any names, let us know in the comments if you see any food-related names. It does help credits go by faster, doesn't it?
All this just to see Bucky at the end.
Right. Hey, don't spoil it for any first-time watchers. If you watched this for the first time and were able to tune us out, good job, because we talked the whole time.
About random stuff. It had little to do with the movie.
No, we talked about the movie, but it just segued us to other stories, you know? Which is the good thing about a commentary.
Corn.
It's just like,
oh, no. It's
corn?
not corn.
Oh.
I combined two names. I got excited.
It's okay. See, that happens. Grill. Brian Grill. Can't do it, though. That's an appliance. See, it gets frustrating after a while. Baker. There's another Baker. Not everyone could be Kevin Bacon. Yeah, the best
How
is
many
Kevin
degrees away from Kevin Bacon are you, Dill?
Oh, let's see.
Is it 6 or 9? The 9 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
I think it's 6 degrees. 7 degrees. I don't know. You keep looking for. I'm going to try to think of a Kevin Bacon connection right now. So,
I'm probably all 9 away.
Curry? Shoot.
But not spelled like curry. It's I-E and not Y. Well, I guess that doesn't count.
All right. I've got one. No. I'm trying to connect. This is tough. Kevin Bacon. Okay. Kevin Bacon was in Mystic River with Sean Penn. Sean Penn was in Milk with Josh Brolin, who is in Infinity War with Chadwick Boseman, who is in Black Panther. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Not bad. If someone can get any closer than that, let us know in the comments, because that was pretty close.
That Mystic was good, River, Dill. You did that really quick, too.
Mystic River, Milk, Infinity War. There we go. 3 degrees of separation there.
Fisher?
3. What was that? Fish.
I just
See,
said
that's someone who catches the food.
Fisher.
Someone catches the food as a fisher. Or fisherman, I guess. Burton, Jones, no. Fogel, Diop sounds like dip, but it's not. The Weekend. Duckworth, but if it was just duck, that would have worked. I don't think we're going to get it. It's okay. It'll be a fun game for our next commentary. Oh, special thanks. Let's see if there's any food here. No, probably not. Oh, that's a peach.
Georgia.
Yeah.
I love how they're like, everything in this movie was fake, by the way. I'm like, yeah, no kidding.
No, really? You didn't have giant rhinos?
No Panavision credit.
Hmm.
The persons and events in this motion picture are fictitious.
Oh, here are the little kids staring at me. It's like they're staring at my soul. Aw. So in the theaters, did you know this was coming? Like, did you think about this? Or I guess you didn't see this in the theaters. The first time you watched this, were you like, oh, that's the man she's talking about?
Didn't we just establish that the first time I watched this was at your house?
Yeah, I can't remember what you said or how you reacted.
I
You were
don't
probably
remember,
very
Dill.
excited.
I was probably pumped because I do love some Bucky.
I mean, a few words.
Well, you know, he's
He's come a long
meditating
way.
these days.
I think he's gotten even stronger with time, as an actor.
Like fine wine. Sorry, like fine wine.
Black Panther will return in
Will
Avengers
return.
Infinity War. And like that, we are done. We are done with the commentary. Thank you so much for watching. That was a long one. That was a big one. But hey, we wanted to get in the spirit for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We hope you enjoyed that. Kelsey, any last thoughts on this movie? I know you said it's your top 5. Having watched it, any new takeaways this time, or just as good as it always is?
Well, Dill, I just loved the fact that we tracked that detail of Nakia's costumes throughout it. It makes me want to like watch it, a few more times and track little things like that
Yeah.
because it's little details like that that like a whole team of people think about and pay attention to and just put their hard work and dedication into. And just as like a regular movie consumer, like we don't really think about those things. Like we just come out and we're like, wow, that was good, or like that was okay, or that was shitty. So in a
Right.
movie like this, we all walked away from it being like, oh my God, that was so cool. It's these little details that make it so why it was so good and
Yeah.
so in effective and successful and all that. So
Yeah.
I
So
love doing this
Kels,
with you, Joe.
where can they find
Go
you?
ahead.
Where can they
Oh,
find you?
you can find me on Instagram at Kelsey A. Kilpatrick. You can follow me on TikTok at Cause13, making a lot of content there.
That's
And you
right.
can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cause Productions.
Hell yeah. And you can find me at the Dill Pickle Movie Network here, or if you listen to us, thank you, because you listened to us for 2.5 hours. I hope you were able to follow along. The one thing I forgot to do was like give time codes as to where we were throughout the movie in case you jumped off or something. But we hope just by our discussions, you knew where we were in the movie, around where we were, like when we were talking about the what are those or anything like that. We hope you were able to keep up. Again, this is not the ideal way to watch the movie for the first time, but if you've seen the movie so many times, it's kind of fun to just kind of put us on and be like, let's chat with our friends Kelsey and Dill. And we hope you had a fun time chatting with us, had a fun time watching this movie. And if you didn't watch the movie, you just watched us talk for 2 hours, then I hope you at least had fun watching us watch something. But if you want to find anything else, head to the podcast feed where you can find out all our podcasts. I actually haven't posted in a few weeks. I actually had trouble with the Anchor app the past few weeks. My password, it locked me out. I finally got that back up and running. So Monday, I'll be dropping, I think, 4 episodes on Monday because the past 3 weeks I've been locked out of Anchor. I finally got back on Anchor, so all the podcasts should be up there. So you should be able to get the Halloween match. You should be able to get the Halloween 31 Days thing. You should be able to get the She-Hulk finale review and this Black Panther commentary. I'm so sorry. Those haven't been available the past few weeks. I'm going to be better about it. And I'll make an announcement on the channel soon about the Dill Pickle podcast, which I am officially going to launch in January. I know it's been something I've been talking about for a while. It's going to happen in January where all the shows, Picture This, Frame Wreck, what are the other shows that we have on the channel? I have a Draft Day. All that's going to be on the podcast, Dill Pickle podcast, which will be separate from this. This is our own podcast. This was the first passion project. Like this came before all the others. Like this is its own feed. But we're gonna have this. We're gonna have the Dill Pickle podcast. So there are gonna be 2 podcasts. Subscribe to both once they're available. And head to the Dill Pickle Movie Network where you can subscribe to see our faces doing all this stuff. Especially, it's fun watching this watching us watch this movie, as I said, all our reactions. Otherwise, that's all I got. Kelsey, any last words before we go to see Wakanda Forever? Any last predictions, last words about that?
No.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy. Drink safely if you're watching this. I know we didn't really pay attention to the rules of drinking every time they said Wakanda, but drink responsibly. We promote responsible drinking. And as always, tune in next time for our Wakanda Forever review. And right before Thanksgiving, we're going to be eating ice cream pizza. You are not going to want to miss it.